All right, welcome to Issue Quarter Book Club. I'm
Number
Itchy.
35.
35. Um, Itchy Shiny Quarter, and we're happy to have you here again in our
Very happy.
serene and our scene. Um, but yeah, we're gonna do our long and short today, which surprisingly comes from one place. So being in school, we tend to read a lot of like these journals, literary journals. There's a lot. There's like one of the popular ones you can get at like Barnes Noble from the United States. You could this the Paris Review. That's a journal. There's a couple other ones too. Different colleges. I know Yale has their own journal. I'm trying to think of some other ones, but a popular one is Plowshares, which is out of Emerson College. Which, oh my God, where's Emerson College? Hmm, it's not.
I'll find it.
Yeah, Emerson College. Oh, it's Massachusetts.
Boston.
Yes, yeah,
Boston.
Boston. Which is cool. My sister went
Boston
to.
Harbor.
Yep, my sister went to Boston University. That's
Oh,
cool.
really?
Yep,
That's
yep,
cool.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so like a lot of the like writing departments, English departments, they publish. So maybe the people who are in the program are publishing in those journals. It's like in-house publishing, but they're great. And so the Emerson College has a publication called Plowshares, and they even have this is a fiction edition. Usually, a lot of them, it's a mixture of things. It's like maybe some essays, some poetry, mixed with short fiction. But this one in particular is filled with this fiction, short stories, and it's actually curated this collection. There's a guest editor. Hopefully I don't butcher his name. Percival Everett. Did I say that correctly? I know he's pretty about he's a
Percival Everett.
Percival Everett. Yeah, he's a kind of a literary sensation right now. He's if you go, uh, his books are always kind of displayed in in the front of stores. He's kind of like I guess in the genre of like speculative. I said it correctly.
Speculative.
Speculative fiction, uh, revisionist history kind of thing. Um, but very, I know a lot of friends of mine that's read it. He just had one 2024. He put out James, which is I guess it's a novel retells Mark Twain's adventures of it's a take on Huckleberry Finn from the perspective of an enslaved character Jim, who insists on being called James. So he does a lot of like I said, revisionist, um, probably from a perspective of from a perspective of maybe uh, cultures and groups of people that were like not treated with fairness over the years. Um, and I I'm glad that he's kind of blowing up right now. He has a novel called The Trees and then one called Erasure. But yeah, he is he won the Pulitzer in fiction, so maybe that's why that's quite a resume he has now, and
Yeah.
he's so
It's probably
popular.
why he was asked to do the
Yeah, I know. I think this was before that.
editing.
Let me see. Possibly this came out just 2014. So I think this is before. When did he? No, he won it in 2024. So this is well before
Oh, okay.
the accolade.
Yeah, well, before.
But yeah, yeah, it's like his themes tend to go on like society, um, people of societal observations, identity, uh, things of that nature. hypocrisy, especially within America. So it's cool. So he's so enough about him and so per se, but he's actually the guest editor of this. So um, I would like
He
to.
picked our
He
stories.
picked us. So I like. I'm going to read this thing that he wrote. I like this. I think this is a good to start us off. He says, "I believe that writing should always represent itself. That it does not need help from anyone. Certainly not me for its reception and appreciation. I wanted stories that push language, that challenge the notion of storytelling, and that finally are beautiful in whatever way beauty is to be found. So I will not say much here, except that these are fine examples of whatever you want find them to be. I did not want stories that read or looked alike. These range from so-called mimetic meta stories, which is kind of like this is a little bit meta. One of the stories here. He didn't like genre label. He didn't like labels that undermine the authors or the work. So this collection is a hodgepodge of things that he just thought were great. And I know, and like I guess when we look at these two stories, they are different, different vibe from each other. There's a few themes, but not. I wouldn't say that they're very similar. But
No, I don't think they're very similar, although I do think, and we talked about this and we'll see as we go through it. I think one of them feels like it should have been written by the other author.
yeah, this it's weird. Like when we were talking about these stories, I'm like, man, this has like a magical realism feel to it. Like it's like thematically, and I'm like, and then Shiny was saying that, it's actually the other author who writes
Yeah.
he writes in that style and not that. I was like, really? I was surprised by that because I felt that I don't know. It's one of those things like I was talking to Shiny about this that sometimes the maybe you have some content creator, director, and they grew up with detective novels or detective stories and detective thrillers, and that's like their main inspiration, and then they direct movies and what they like, but it ends up kind of coming across like a copy of whatever they liked. So it's just not much originality. Whereas like sometimes someone comes out of left field and they want to write a story and it could be considered a detective novel, but the person wasn't trying to create a detective novel. It just happens like that. And so it's like it's because they're not maybe, I don't know, if they didn't immerse themselves in that world, they ended up creating something that could stand alone. It didn't have to. It wasn't like some homage to like to whatever they were liked, and it's like I think we need that sometimes. I think I kind of described that with bands too. I think I had this theory that every band needs a wild card member. Somebody in the band that's not really like if a band is a metal band, there's gonna be one member that's not into metal, and they end up doing something where it makes the band distinctive, or they're into like something else. They're
It's like Black Flag and Henry Rollins being into spoken word.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody. I think the spoken word came out afterwards.
No,
But
he did it on some of the albums. I just read that chapter.
yeah, I was thinking more so like Deftones, like a Chino. Like he was like the band was into where were they into, but Chino was into like Morrissey and Prince, and wasn't even in hip hop and stuff like that. So that's why his vocal delivery is the way it is. And even a band like Slayer.
I think you see that a lot in bands, though.
Yeah, I think it's like
get like 5 people or whatever who are all exactly into the same stuff.
Yeah, someone needs to come out. Someone has to break out of that convention, and do something different. Not because it's like you have somebody into we just love this record and it's like we want to go in that direction, and then the product becomes kind of stale and
yeah.
and I don't know, pedestrian sounding.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, um, I think even in like for if you brought up Henry Rollins, even like in if I remember you reading that book, the book she's referring to is Our Band Could Be Your Life, and there's this different every chapter is a different band, but I was saying like even on a lifestyle way, like all the members were like big potheads and he wasn't. He was
Oh
very
yeah,
like
and he wasn't.
he was like this like sober. My body is my
Well,
vessel.
he was the only one from DC. All the rest of them were Cali boys.
Yeah, so like that in itself could be a thing that makes like I feel like the art different, having a
Hmm.
different background compared to the rest, not being a stoner
Yeah.
and all that. Like I don't know. I just think that that maybe created attention in the music, and so that would be I would consider that the wild card.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could come out. It could come across in various forms. I just see it in music because my head's always there. But I get. I mean, I was trying to see like in authors too. Like there's probably like some authors that they don't maybe plan on being fantasy writers, but they end up being fantasy writers. And
Yeah.
it takes like a whole. It makes
Well,
it gives like life to maybe a genre that is maybe a gay captor or
yeah.
or kind of
Fantasy is a setting, though,
yeah.
right? Like it's a genre, but in reality, it's a setting. So you can have a detective novel that's a fantasy detective novel or
I was
whatever.
I was thinking of Blade Runner
Oh yeah.
in a way, right? Like the
Hmm.
OG like I mean it's not a detective novel, but it's
No, but it has an element to that. But
like
it's a
it's
dystopian sci-fi slash detective story. Like, and that's the whole point. Like, it can
yeah.
things can be two things.
Yeah, I think it's hard. It's hard for people. Even going back to AI, AI is I feel like it perpetuates groupthink,
Hmm.
and it's so like what it's. I think like the more we kind of embrace it, the more we're gonna find out that we hate um, homogenized products,
Homogenized.
huh?
Homogenized.
Homogenized, yeah, products, yeah. Um, and that's a good thing. I'm glad. I hope that that's the result.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think that we need it's art. Like you have to have somebody that comes from a different comes out the window instead of the door, or goes in the
Yeah.
window instead of the door. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
nice little tangent
Right.
there.
So we went on quite a tangent. Shall I talk about Aimee Bender?
Yes.
So again, like I said, these both of these authors this week are very light on the information. Both still alive. Aimee Bender was born in 1969 to a Jewish family. She is a native of Los Angeles. Now, I clearly am a person who believes that travel is very good for a person. Moving to another country changes
Yes.
your perspective.
Very much.
This woman does not care about that. She is California all the way, 100%.
Wow.
She received her undergraduate degree from University of California, San Diego. She got an MFA from University of California, Irvine. She is currently a teacher of creative writing at University of Southern California. Um, so she does not care about anything outside of Southern California. That is where she is. That is where she lives. That is all she wants.
Mm.
Um, it's boggles my mind. I hardly can fathom that because I'm not that person. But
Yeah.
she named Oscar Wilde, Hans Christian Andersen, the Brothers Grimm, and Sexton all as influences on her writing. She's
Mm.
close friends with author Alice Sebold, who wrote Lovely Bones, which is a book that
Oh yeah.
I know of. It was quite famous.
Uh,
Her sister is also a novelist and short story writer, Karen Bender. Um, and Amy is known for her surreal stories and characters.
mm.
And she's lumped in with magical realism as well.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes.
that's that's all I could
I
find
told
out.
you some of
Even
these
like her
authors.
author site
Yeah,
didn't have any
you
more
gotta. Yeah,
information.
some of these some of these authors we'll talk about. They have like volumes of criticism written about them. They have you go look in a database for college. There's like papers and dissertations about them. Some of these authors like this, they have a LinkedIn. That's all. So we tend to pick authors that are super well known, and some are just new. That's why
Mm,
it's great that we get we're picking from this journal, because these are all like somewhat unknown authors. I mean they're their work is good enough to be published, so there's some literary merit. But again, they're not up and coming.
mm,
That's what I love about doing this show. It's like maybe like a Julia Oranger, like you read something from her. She only has a short story collection, and then one day she gets picked up by Netflix to do that they want to adapt one of her stories, and stuff like this happens. So you may be like maybe read a story, and you see the success of that author in real time. In terms of like what success is, I know that's subjective, but in terms of like maybe um, some of their work being translated into something else, a play, a movie, so that could happen. But yeah, so the name of her story, he wanted to give us the name of this.
the name of the story is Baskets.
Baskets. Okay, and I'm reading along right with my copy here. Um, so I'm just it may well, it's going to match the PDF, so that's
Yeah,
good.
the PDF. So the PDF has page numbers on it that are the same as the page numbers in your book, I'm assuming, or
Yep,
your
yep,
journal.
yep. So
So
that helps. If anybody, well, it helps me in Shiny. But also if
yeah.
anybody else reading here,
I felt like the story started with what appears to be a setup of a very bad joke.
yeah, I got this. Yeah, I felt the same.
The woman having a miscarriage bumps into the woman getting an abortion. It feels like you're going someplace with that.
Yeah, yeah.
No place good.
Oh
um, yeah, so it's New Year's Eve, which not a great day to be doing either of those things.
my god! Well,
Um,
just to back up, our last story started on New Year's Eve.
yeah,
Or
it
le-
did. It did.
That's crazy. Okay, New Year's Eve.
And we're in May, so whatever.
Yeah.
Um, they're both in line at the pharmacy buying ibuprofen. Um, they one of them has a basket with a bottle of wine, the other with four candy bars.
Hmm.
Um, so they're in the queue together,
Yeah.
and the woman with the bottle of wine says to the woman with the candy bars that those look good. I love hazelnut. Um, the second woman seems to be maybe in a worse mood. Do you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
She can barely smile. Um, but the there's a theme to the items, and a woman can tell, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, it seems very like the time of the month. Do you know when you crave chocolate and you know you're maybe a little weepy? Um, but the second woman says no, it's not.
Well,
And the first woman,
she says it out loud. I mean, she's pretty.
yeah.
She's like, "Is it
Oh
time of the
yeah,
month?"
they're talking.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah.
talking.
I mean, like the way you said it, I wasn't sure if anybody understood. Like, yeah, no, she says that. Is it time of the month?
Yeah, no,
Which is
she
it's a little bit.
actually
It was a
asks
bit
her that.
forward. It's a bit forward.
Yeah.
Um.
And then, when the woman says no, she says, "Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, not my business." But the second woman, tells her it's okay, gets a box of tissues and adds it to her basket. So,
Well, she's
you
crying
know,
too. She's crying.
yeah, she's starting to cry. So she's
Yeah.
just tearing up.
Yeah.
And the first woman says, "Hey, can you hand me some of those too?" So it's clear that like they're both upset. Um, they're both buying pain reliever. They're both getting, their vice of choice. And the first woman says, "You aren't miscarrying as well, are you?" Um, and the second woman, who's now blowing her nose, she's really upset now. She says, "Miscarrying?" And she says, "Yeah, are you miscarrying?" She says, "No." And then uh they kind of stand there for a minute, and then the second woman says, "I'm aborting this afternoon." Um and the first woman, I think, has this reaction where she can't really fathom that a person wouldn't want a baby,
Yeah.
because she asks if this woman's getting an abortion from bad I can't say it, amnio results.
Mm.
Because that happens if you test the amniotic fluid and it comes back with letting you know that there's something really wrong with your baby. Rather
Uh-huh.
than carrying it to term, it's sometimes better to abort the baby, because
Yeah.
you know that's just putting a mother through a lot of, like, a mother's body through a lot of stress for a child that's not viable. So it's a hard choice to make, obviously, and it would be very upsetting for a mother who wanted a child to do that. But, this woman, she wants her child and she's lost it. And so she can't really, she can't even really grasp that somebody might just not want a child.
Mm.
Um, and when the second woman doesn't understand, she says, "Bad what?" Then the first woman understands that, "Oh no, you just don't want the child." And the second woman says, that it's impossible. It's not, it's almost like she would want the child, but she just can't right now. Either she can't afford it,
Yeah.
or her life isn't in a place where she can stop to take
Yeah.
care of a child.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the case is, she sees it as impossible to have a child right now.
Yeah. I was getting mixed up sometimes with the who is what, but the second woman is the one, right? Is the one who is
The
the
second
second
woman
one
is the
is the one
one
getting
who's having the
the abortion,
abortion,
and
and the first
she's
woman,
emotional,
yeah.
and the
She
first
almost
one,
comes across as more emotional than the first woman who's just lost her child through miscarriage.
yeah. So I would say I mean, it'd be fair to say that the first one's a little bit more, I don't know, a matter of fact, a little bit less emotional.
Yeah, I think she's also older.
Yeah,
She's getting
but
closer to 40. The other woman's only around 23. So they're at different stages in their life.
yeah.
Um,
Well, the first one, it seemed like she didn't
and
sugarcoat anything.
no, I don't think
From the
so.
says it
But
right.
I also, I, based on things she says through the story, I get the impression that, you know, maybe this is her first miscarriage, but it's not her first struggle with trying to have a child.
Mm. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
she's working quite hard to have a child. I think she talked about infertility stuff that they were doing.
Mm. Mm.
So, you know, she's probably had some disappointment where she, did something to hopefully get pregnant. It didn't work out. I'm not saying that that doesn't hurt every time, but maybe,
She's
she's
acclimated to
felt
the
this a
pain.
bit. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that because I don't know why when two characters are going back and forth, I sometimes I have an ability to like figure out what traits go with what with whom.
Yeah, no, I struggle with that as well, especially if they aren't very clearly labeled.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
got just answers without it being referenced to who said it, and
yeah.
I can get confused with that. So,
Hmm.
um
Good, good, good.
yeah. But the first woman, she she says it's just too bad that they can't trade. Um because she says this line just got me. "I spent all yesterday crying because mine won't stay in."
Yeah,
So, and the other woman says, "I have to take mine out."
yeah.
So
Like using this kind of
they,
terminology that's maybe anybody else, like maybe if someone said it to them, they would take offense to
mhm,
it. But because they're both in this kind of same struggle together, like there's
mhm,
some allowance for to be I don't know, less less padding on the language. I feel like
yeah,
they're both dealing with the same thing, so they could be, I guess, well, how would you say that? Forthright with each other.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's already like it's
But I think,
establishing a little bit of a bond, or
yeah, but the second woman still has a little bit of uh trepidation
yeah, yeah,
because she she kind of like is like trying to explain herself. But the first woman is really, I just think it could have gone such a different way, but the first woman, the one who's miscarried, is very understanding. She's not judging her. She,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
she said that she used to pray all the time not to get pregnant when she was younger. So it's there's no judgment there just because she is having trouble getting pregnant now and keeping a pregnancy. She's not judging this girl for being at a different point in her life and not being able to be a mother at this point. Um,
Yeah, it's actually a beautiful exchange, and it's like a
mhm.
rare scenario that people like. I think these are, you know, abortion and pregnancy are
Yeah.
are hot a hot topic politically, but also like emotionally for women. So it's like the
Mhm.
fact that
Mhm.
they're being a little pragmatic about it.
Yeah.
It's like it's a breath of fresh air, so to speak. Like it's almost like if you change the subjects and maybe one woman was religious, like just found religion,
Mhm.
another woman just didn't want to have religion anymore, like left religion. Uh,
Mhm.
and that they're able to have the two people like in those that could be described as that having a conversation about religion, not judging each other. Like, how come you
Yeah.
left religion, or how come like I left religion? Like, it's like it
Yeah.
would be antagonistic in a way, but they're like it would be like that if they were like cordial, like having a regular conversation, and not taking it personal that one left religion and another one is still
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
It's very hard. That's the framework I put it in, because
Yeah.
like you have
Well,
you're bringing life into the world, so it's it's different for women, obviously. So it I feel like
I
it's like,
think there's an emotional aspect there as well that could be quite difficult. It would be
yeah,
so easy to sit there in your pain as a person who just miscarried a child and get angry at
yeah,
a person who's giving up a child willingly,
yeah.
who's, um
That's the conversation that could
she's not,
turn.
yeah, she's not judging her. She's not, she made that comment, too bad we can't switch, but she's not angry at this woman for doing what she's doing. Um
It's like is this the author who's pegged to be magical realist?
yeah, she
If
she
maybe
calls
this is
it
like it's
very
not
surreal.
maybe it's like not magical realism, but it's utopian realism between people.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is pretty magical, actually,
Yeah.
that these two people could get
Maybe it
on.
is. Maybe she is writing magical realist stories. It's like because I can't imagine this conversation happening in real life. Um, but so yeah, it's like maybe a different take on like there's no fantastical element, but it's more of a maybe a utopian scenario. Um, but yeah, this it's cool. It's an unrealized, maybe unrealistic exchange here.
I think there are two people in the world that could have this
Yeah,
conversation. I
I
don't
haven't met
think
them
it's,
yet. I haven't been around.
yeah.
I haven't been in
Um,
earshot of them.
I also didn't think it was going to go this way from that first line.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
it
thought
sets
this was
you
going
up.
to be quite an antagonistic story,
Yeah, maybe
and it
some
proved very quickly
fisticuffs
not to be. Yeah.
to a fight in
Um,
the CVS.
and I think the younger woman is looking for some encouragement because the the first woman that said, I used to pray all the time to get pregnant. Once I was really late, I completely panicked. The they pay for their stuff, like they go through the process of getting rung up and everything like that. And the second woman hasn't let that go because she says, "What happened?"
Mm.
And the first woman kind of had already moved on. She's like, "What do you mean? With what?" And she's like, "You were late." And she's like, "Oh, it turned out to be nothing." That was a bad example. Sorry. Because I think the second woman would have liked to have heard, "Oh, yeah, turns out I was pregnant. Wasn't the right time. I had an abortion." Like,
Oh, I see. I
I
see.
think maybe the
Yeah, that's a
second
good
woman
point.
was kind of looking for that encouragement.
Yeah. Scrapple Jack says
Scrap.
they were both vulnerable and hurting, and perhaps they felt that in each other. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they were like at that. I feel like maybe they got it. They read the signals wrong. Uh, like you have a conversation with somebody, and uh, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good analogy to that. Like some people, uh, I remember. Okay, this is a quick one. I try to. I was at Orlando. I was waiting. I was in line for a very very long ride. Okay,
Mm.
and I was waiting for a while, and like we got to the part where we're about to get on, and we're still waiting. And I was like, I saw these two people waiting, and I was gonna start a conversation and say, hey, man, we've been waiting here for 3 hours. Uh, it's a lot. That's a long time. And I went to say it, and they go, no English. And I'm like, oh, okay. So
Aw.
I'm standing in this like Space Mountain or one of these rides, and then like by myself, like I was looking to maybe like the angst, not the angst, but like
No, but to connect with
I was
people
trying
going
to
through the same
I
thing
was
as
yeah
you.
I was like trying to connect to them, and then thinking that maybe I was gonna get that's not the response I was getting at. Like we didn't even connect
No.
at all. Like we didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't speak a lick of English. So I was like I felt more alone in my
Mm.
angst about having to wait in line for 3 hours for a ride that lasts for 4 minutes.
4
Um,
minutes exactly.
so like that's why I think she was kind of feeling out the situation. Like, oh wow, this is her throwing a bone. Like, oh okay, she's gonna kind of maybe go in. This is her chance to. Like this is her opportunity to tell me that she went through the same thing I did. No, she's like,
Mm.
oh yeah, nothing happened. So it was great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's super realistic. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
I tend to fall into those traps myself.
Yeah. But the thing that's really nice about this older woman is um she um she waits for this younger woman. Because
Yeah,
she gets rung up first and gets through the line, but she doesn't just leave. She could have just walked out.
yeah.
She's done with her business in the pharmacy, go to her car and leave. But no, she waits for her. She stands outside waiting for her. And uh the second woman comes out, and that she continues the conversation. You know, even though it says they've been released from their line intimacy into the wild and unobligated world.
Yeah,
They no
yeah.
longer have that specific thing keeping them together. And that I'm real bad for this. And I don't even like people that much, but I always talk to people in queues. Always.
Yeah.
Um but I don't ever follow them out afterwards and
Well,
continue the
I
conversation.
would like to think that okay, maybe the first woman's a little bit aloof. She says things, doesn't really think through them, but I consider her a person of high emotional intelligence because I think that she picked up on the fact that the other woman thought that she was throwing her like a lifeline,
Mm,
I don't know how to explain it, like that was her life preserver. And maybe she thought the second woman, was going to be like, oh yes, this is where we're going to connect about. Maybe she'll talk to me about what I'm going through, but
hmm
just the first woman knew that, oh, I messed up. Oh, she thought differently. She thought I was going to go into, like, it was going to have some resolve. No, it wasn't. It was like, oh my God, it was like, it almost came across cold. Like, oh, nothing happened. I don't know. I forgot what we were talking about. So like, I like the fact that she waited for her, because I think that she picked up on that, hell, you know what? Let me try again.
Yeah.
I don't want to come across like I'm like a uncaring,
Yeah.
person.
And the second woman responds well to that.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
shares more. She says that actually she loves children, um, and that makes the older woman think about what she's gone through so far. It says she spent $14,000 to try and get pregnant,
Mm.
and she was pregnant for 20 days.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Yeah.
and it she can feel her body is in pain. It's not just an emotional pain she's going through. She's actually, you know, getting a pain in her back from where this is, you know,
Mm.
her body is dealing with this problem of, not essentially trying to get rid of what was her child. And, she's got to go home. The doctor advises, right, that she should go home with a heating pad, painkillers, and just rest.
Yeah.
But she decides to stay with the younger woman. She asks her if she wants company.
Yeah. I don't know, Shiny,
And
if you feel that, like, if that second woman jumped out, came out the store and stepped out into an empty curb with nobody there, I think it would have been really bad for her. I think she would have spiraled if, like, she had this
yeah,
opportunity to talk to.
I
She had an
think
opportunity.
so.
Yeah, she had an opportunity to talk to someone, maybe meet in the middle. She read it wrong, and then that person left, and then she feels more alone. So it's like it's this. I think that by that second woman staying, waiting for her was a good thing, for both of them, maybe.
Yeah, and even though she says no about wanting company, she says it with a question. So I think the first woman takes that as a sign that she doesn't want to ask a complete stranger to go with her for her abortion, but she kind of needs somebody.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and she asks her what time it is, um, and asks her if she's going alone.
Hmm.
And when the woman says, it's fine, I can go alone, she says you should have someone with you. Um, and the second woman says, well, I can't tell my parents and my boyfriend's in Italy. Um, and the older woman looks at her watch, sees the time, it's 10 to 2. Um, she has other stuff to do, and this isn't really the best choice for her recovery, but she decides to stay with this woman
Mm. What a
and go
beautiful,
with her.
like, what a, yeah. This, I love that we're going through this again because it hits differently. She had
Hmm.
a choice and she chose to stay.
Hmm.
Um, I think she made the
And
executive decision, right?
yeah, yeah, she assessed, like she said, she had things to do. This wasn't the best thing for her physically, but she assessed that this was the thing that she needed to do.
Emotionally, probably.
Yeah.
Like, this is beneficial emotionally, because what's she gonna do? Go home, feel the traces, like the physical traces of
Her loss.
her loss, and then kind of wallow on that. Or
Hmm.
she could go with this person and maybe develop a different perspective. Maybe it's a shifting of attention. She's taking,
Well, and she can give comfort to somebody else.
yeah. Yeah, and not to go too far in the story, but I felt that her doing that was a way of saying, like, although I can't have a baby, I've tried, I could still I could still display my maternal instincts. I'm helping
Hmm.
a younger
Hmm.
person who could probably even be my daughter. And I mean, the younger person doesn't have maybe a support system. It doesn't seem like it. She's not telling anybody about this. Her parents don't know, boyfriend don't know, and I feel that the first woman is acting like a mother, even though she can't have a baby. She's acting like a mother, which
Yeah.
I think that I don't like to speak on behalf of women, but I'm saying like it would make. I mean, if like maybe that means something that you could still, even if you can't produce a child, you're still your maternal instincts are still on display.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't think it's a, a trade-off that she would feel is um equivalent, but it
no,
might give her some comfort.
some comfort, yeah, yeah,
You know, this younger woman is crying. Like she's clearly in the midst of her upset, whereas the older woman was crying yesterday and is kind of,
mm-hmm,
you know, I think this is it's grief. And the initial hit of grief can be very emotional and loud, but then physically you just can't maintain that. So like I because I'm a crier. Absolutely. Cry if I'm
mm,
happy, sad, mad, whatever. Um, but the last time I was going through grief, I could only like cry so much before I had to stop.
yeah,
Um, and you know, like day two, after she's cried all day, maybe she's just a bit in that numb place. And so that
yeah,
allows her to be there for this woman who's actively upset. You know, maybe
yeah,
she's just upset, but she's not actively upset right at this moment. But it does, you know, she is getting angry. The older woman is getting angry at just anything.
mm, yeah,
Like, she thinks the parking meters look fallopian and she hates them because they're so full. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anything pisses off this woman right now.
I'm sorry. Now I'm seeing the magical realism
Mm.
with these descriptions. That's very cool. So it's a cool, it's a good take. It's an creative take on magical realism because okay, she's seeing the Barkimedes of fallopian tubes, Bowlby, full of coins, almost like full of, I don't know, like full, like not like her, empty.
Yeah, just full, just not empty
Full, like
like her.
having
Yeah,
a
exactly.
harnessing or containing a child, like a cocoon, like having a child. And I don't know if Shani you agree with this, but like if there was any anger between them, which is legitimate, you would think the most
Hmm.
obvious thing is one person gonna have a baby, another one's getting rid of one, or trying to have a baby, another one's getting rid of them. Maybe like it's like her subconscious kind of offloading that anger at something else
Hmm.
besides the woman, besides
Yeah.
the second woman. Like she's like, yes, she's able to look at the second woman and there's empathy, but there is. I don't think that anger could like dissolve itself.
No.
I think it's still
But
there, and it comes out like in like the parking meter looks like a baby, or that, or that
yeah,
car,
I
the way it's
think
shaped looks like a child's car, and I miss a child. Like it's coming out in her subconscious.
yeah. Well, cuz so part of the reason why I cry so much is I'm very emotional. And it like I really struggle to not allow my emotions into things. But I used to be a line manager, and I had a really difficult person to manage in that she wasn't difficult as a person, she was lovely, but she didn't do her job well. And I had to point that out to her. But I really struggled to like I would find out that the thing was done wrong. I would be in a rage about it because I was like, what the hell? This should be done this way. Why is it not done this way? But then when I
Mm.
was standing in front of her, having to talk to her, I couldn't I couldn't be angry.
Yeah, yeah,
And not because it was unprofessional, not because somebody told me I shouldn't be. I just couldn't look in her face and be that forceful. So I always was much gentler in my correction to her face. And I feel like this woman is the same. She could be angry, but she can't be angry at this woman who's sad and going through something,
Yeah. Yeah.
regardless of what the situation is. She doesn't have it in her to be angry. And she admits that she would have done the same thing. She would have had an abortion if
Yeah.
she'd been in this situation before she was ready to have a child.
It's just one. It's. I feel like this scenario is. It's a very. It's. I think it's difficult for people to separate that themselves from it,
Mm-hmm.
especially women who are trying to get pregnant and they see someone who is not wanting the baby. I don't know. I just think that would be a for most women that would be tough.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just cool. Again, you have this like this utopian situation.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Uh,
but Scrapplejack is correct. Empathetic tendency. I'm highly empathetic, so that's why it's hard for me to be mean
yeah.
to someone in their face, even when they've done wrong, even when, they need to be corrected. And
Hmm.
this woman's probably very empathetic, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, she
She
is. She waited. She could have just walked
Yeah.
off. I'm think it's doing a lot. We don't want to dismiss the fact that it's doing a lot for her too.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
what else is she gonna do that night? Maybe she could go home and cry like this, like the
Mhm.
second woman. But maybe it's a healthy distraction just to be able to
Yeah.
help, like to take her pain away from herself for a moment and to concentrate on
Mhm.
somebody else's pain. I know I do that all the time. Like it's like if when my father was sick in the hospital, like I would always stream because it was easier to to be around people and to play music and to get out of my headspace for a little bit, even though I was there.
Mhm.
But it was it's nice. It's a nice break from feeling like you always have. So I get that. But this is I feel like this is different. This is another. There's more layers to this.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so
She sits with the woman through like she holds her hand
yeah,
while they're actively doing the procedure. Um, but it's really quick. Um, compared to, many things that you get done. And she leaves the room while the younger woman kind of recovers from the process. And she starts to, there's this line, gravity started to exert its tug on her own lining.
mm.
Which as a woman, I felt that. But it she just starts to think about what the evening ahead is going to hold for her. She already knows
Mm.
she's going to open her bottle of wine on the walk home because she's not that far from home. And she's going to drink it from the paper bag. She figures she'll get home, she'll call her bloke and have him come over to watch TV. He's sad,
Yeah,
but he's less sad. There's a
yeah,
different level to it than what she's experiencing. Um, but the younger woman comes out after, a few minutes, and she she says she's sorry, just generally. But they get to the street corner and they part ways. It's very amicable. Wish
yeah,
each other happy new year, say goodbye. The younger woman's probably going home to cry a bit more, probably going to deal with some cramps and stuff like that. That's unpleasant. Um, but she's thinking of the older woman, and she hopes that she'll be like her someday
yeah,
because she thinks she's done a really good thing.
yeah. That's where like maternal instinct comes through. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
even though she can't obviously have maybe the outcome was different for her, she could still be there. She could. I'm sure she maybe looked at this second woman as a child. Like I'm helping my child
Mm-hmm.
through something. Um,
Mm-hmm. Well, and by comparison, she is a child. I think our brains are still forming in our 20s. So
yeah, yeah. I like this. I mean, there's like I love the little symbolism with like, you know, or is it the older woman watches the younger walk away as she uncorks the wine with her convenient red multi-tool switchblade, like the color red,
Yeah.
blood, life, death. There's a lot of associations with red,
Mm-hmm.
um, and yeah, it's like a little, it's like almost like the denouement of this whole thing. She's just kind of with her new perspective. But yeah, and then it changes dramatically. Like, it does a left turn.
Yeah.
Once you, what are your comments on that? On that, Shiny? She will
What?
actually
Yeah,
walk us through that.
she has a memory at that moment, and um, it goes back to her university where yeah, I think because they've been for a college class. She's trying to learn how to write an essay, and she remembers everything about this teacher's office. It was on the fifth floor. Um, the teacher had a jar of watermelon candies on her desk. There were black and white photographs of European cities. And she's sitting there listening to this teacher, and the teacher says, just write extra, write more. You can always cut. Don't hold back so much. Um, she's reminded of it now because she just wrote too succinctly. There was never anything to cut. And she's reminded of it, and she kind of gets jealous of the younger woman. Um,
Mm.
and but it's odd because it doesn't seem like it's real jealousy directed at that woman. You know, I don't it was really it was weird. I kind of came out of the story with this bit, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I think I feel like if I'm like reading through it again. Like, can we maybe we should read a little bit. She remembers right then trying to learn how to write an essay. It has been for a college class. She had such trouble developing an argument. She met with the teacher at office hours on the fifth floor of an imposing stone building just off the Central Quad. The teacher had a clear jar of watermelon candies on her desk and walls touched with black and white photographs of rivers in European cities. The woman, then a girl, sat politely in her chair as the teacher leaned forward at her desk, forehand in hand. Come on, the teacher had said, just write extra, write more. You can always cut. Don't hold back so much. The student had these crisp three-line paragraphs. There was never anything to cut. She is reminded of it now, beginning her slow walk home, knit up with bitter jealousy of the young woman who is hunched and buckled over with tears and self hatred as she drifts down the sidewalk in the other direction. The older woman thinks of her teacher pacing around the office, waving the red pen. I can't use the red pen with you, she said. I want to. It's my job. Make me use the red pen. But what do I want to say? The woman remembers herself thinking, sitting in the oak chair in the rusty bookish office on the fifth floor. What more is there possibly to say? Um, I kind of, I don't know. I see it as like she was able to like to in be in this scenario with this woman at this drugstore or whatever, they're coming out, having this conversation, doing these
Mhm.
things. Maybe if she wrote this story, she wouldn't. Maybe she would have just left. She would have waited for that other woman. Um, and I think like she was, because she was able to wait and kind of forge a new part of the story. Uh, she kind of reflects on how when she couldn't do that, like in her younger years, like she was like everything had to be correct and perfect. Maybe the correct
Mhm.
way in that situation would be just to leave or to say the right thing and just go, or not, instead
Mhm.
of like having to wait there and go with the woman to get the abortion. That was unorthodox. It was
Mhm.
too wild or too unconventional for her to think, and I think maybe it was like like her pining for, like her wishing that maybe she would have had that much confidence back then to write differently. She forged this new way of like, oh, like I think her old self would have just left instead of waiting for the girl and doing that.
Yeah.
And she maybe is like thinking back at a time when she could have done more. Instead of fighting change, or instead of like having that conversation. I think maybe the teacher represents maybe her. Like I feel like when you're writing something, especially in college, like you're hypersensitive, and you everything is, you're very you're antagonistic relationship to criticism sometimes. But like when you're writing that much, you have to be criticized, and you have to be willing to kill your darlings. That's the saying is they. To kill off characters, to do that, especially writing fiction, and but it's hard because you have this story the way you want it to be perfectly, and then so having to change is almost like rearranging yourself. You feel like you're reversing the gears. So I just think like I think she added that part, in my opinion, as just a way like what she could have done differently, or seeing herself as a more rigid person.
Yeah. Almost like it's proof of personal growth for
Yeah,
her.
yeah. It's like she couldn't see it. She couldn't. I don't think she could have seen herself being the kind of person she was in that moment with this woman who was having an abortion, and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm here." Like okay, this is even better. Like she's so close to that. Okay, when you're writing a paper, if you're in like an MFA program, if you're writing a paper, you're so close to that story. You're thinking about this story, or any paper. If you're in the master's program and writing, you're with that paper for years and years and years. You're afraid. So when someone criticizes it, it's hard at times to change it because it's your baby. Okay, I mean, case in point, we're talking about babies here. So the fact that she was able to shut down, like she was able to shut down her own mind about her own pain of, like, how you say her body, they kept going back and her body was, she knew she was going to have a rough night ahead of her. The woman who, couldn't have the baby, and, her body was still going through the changes. Like the baby was still there. She was going through pain.
Well, essentially the two women were having
Similar.
the same physical thing.
Yeah.
Because quite often, if you can't, this sounds so clinical, but if you can't expel the baby naturally when you have a miscarriage, you have to go in for a D&C, which is the same thing that an abortion is.
Yeah. Okay.
So essentially their bodies were doing the same thing.
But that's what I was saying about the paper. She was in that story about her with the teacher. She couldn't get outside of the fact that was her paper. Like she couldn't think outside of herself. And in the scenario with this woman at the store, she was able to get outside of herself. And I think that she was going in the past thinking, man, I really wish I was able to be less self-absorbed in that moment. I wish right now, like she could have easily been, my body is feeling like shit. I don't even want to deal with you. Like, and you're wanting an abortion, and I'm trying to have a baby. Like, I don't want nothing to do with you. She had every reason to kind of avoid this other woman. She represented everything that was opposite of what she wanted. But despite all that, she was able to put her own interests, put her own grief aside. I think when you write a paper, when you're writing a story, it's hard to do. You're so close to it. Yeah. Someone says, I don't like this character. What do you mean you don't like this character?
Yeah.
I was with this character all my life. Like, this is based on my mother. I don't give a shit. I don't know your mother. Like, why do you, I don't, this has nothing to do with me. It's the audience. I'm telling you as the reader, this character is irrelevant. We don't need to have this in there. But what do you mean? It's my mom. Yeah. So it's like, it's just it's her in hindsight going back in a situation where she wishes she could have been the same way she was with this woman to her teacher, or about, and I get that.
Yeah.
it's and to like to put it in a a story like this about pregnancy is even more difficult. I think. But yeah, that's I feel like that's my take on that last part, and that threw me through a loop too. I was like, where? I was trying to find the connective tissue with that, and I couldn't. But now I can, probably from this hearing your take on a lot of things. So does that you feel like that's a pretty good read on that, Shiny, or is
Yeah, I think, I see how they can connect now. Like I almost think as well, it's kind of like the older woman in a way was seeing that she just, in both cases, she couldn't make it happen.
yeah, yeah.
So, because when I initially read it, that was kind of, I was like, I really don't see the clear connection between these two, but maybe it is, you know, that she's looking at herself as not being able to do something.
Yeah, well,
And this
yeah,
is
I know.
another time when she was unable to do something. Um, but I also think like the way that the teacher reacted was kind of it it intrigued me because it was like she kind of not overreacted, but she had a very like emotional response. Do you
Oh, you
know?
know what? Okay, okay. I got this. I'm glad you.
Oh, okay. Tell
I
me. Tell
think
me.
I figured. Okay, I'm not saying that. This is making me think now. The
Hmm.
teacher goes waving the red pen, which is the pen that someone use for editing. I can't use the red
Hmm.
pen with you, she said. I want to. It's my job. Make me use the red pen. Uh, I can't use this red pen with you. Like almost, she's saying that I can't tell you what to
I can't
do.
make
I
edits.
can't make edits with you in the room. Okay. Think about that. The
No,
second,
I don't even think it's with her in the room. I think it's that she doesn't write enough for there to be anything to cut.
um,
Do you know?
oh, okay,
Like
okay, I see it. Make me cut, maybe make me have to cut things. I
give
have,
me something to cut. Yeah, because so when I do editorial layout, when I do editorial layout, sometimes the text doesn't fit. It's too long for the space that we have.
yeah,
And I go back to my writers, my editor, and I say, look, can you edit this so that it fits in the space? I need one line. And they rewrite it, still says the exact same thing, but they rewrite it with slightly different words and it's suddenly shorter.
I see.
This woman, when she wrote her essay, wrote it so succinctly that there's nothing to cut.
I also, but I also see it as this writer, the second woman saying, "But I want you to come with me. I want you to." I was like, why can't we do it together? Because
Mm. Mm-hmm.
she was able to go with this woman who had the abortion. Yeah, maybe she's a little too close to the situation through a societal lens,
Mm-hmm.
maternal lens. Why would you help if you're struggling to have a baby? Why are you going to help a woman have an abortion? And any
Mm-hmm.
this wouldn't happen. But she went with her anyway.
Yeah.
And I think in this that part, why can't I can't use the red pen with you? She's like, no, I want you to be here with me. I need you here. Why can't you be here?
Mm-hmm.
It's just because you're the teacher and you're the editor and you can't be in the same room. Yeah, be in the same room with me. Maybe in academia you can't be in the same room with me and edit. You have to do it at home somewhere in some fucking dungeon, and then bring it back to me later on. But I was
Why's it
like,
gotta be a dungeon?
I don't know. I was thinking of like some teacher like grading papers in dank basement. But I'm saying like the fact that she like she broke convention. She went to the abortion clinic with the woman to get the abort. Like she's like, no, maybe society or maybe the system wouldn't want us to be together, but I went with you. And she's maybe going back and saying, no, you can be with me. We could be in the same room and you could edit. I need your help. I want you to be here with me. I'm lost. I'm trying to do this paper. I'm stressed out. I kind of want you here.
The thing is, even if she did write so succinctly, there was nothing to cut. The red pen could be used to suggest additions.
Exactly. I need okay, now we're getting somewhere. She wanted a little more guidance. She wanted just like the second woman wanted. She didn't have to go to the abortion clinic, but she did. She wanted some. She was thinking back. She's like, I wish that teacher was me. I wish that teacher would have stayed with me, and with the red pen, like you said, maybe give me some suggestions. Maybe give me some more guidance.
Yeah.
I needed some more guidance at that point, and why couldn't she have done that? A little resentment on the second woman's part, because I did it for this woman, and I had every reason not to, but I did it anyway, because this person needed me, and I didn't. I put myself aside. Maybe the teacher is like a little too stuck in her position. Like, oh, I can't be with you and do this. I have to do this on my own. Not offering herself. People not offering.
Yeah.
I think people get, in general, when it's hits too close to home, they have a hard time offering themselves when they're affected. Like, I can't possibly help you. Why am I gonna give you a hand because what you're doing is like one of my biggest fears in the world, like, or something that happened to me. It would be a mockery in a way, but she did. She goes, and I like that. But yeah, that's we were like not fighting, but we were trying to figure out this last part. But I could hang my hat on that one. I think between me and you, we got there. We got there. A Scrapplejack. I took it as an older woman who was controlled, so not to allow chaos result in mistakes, which were possibilities, like getting pregnant. I took it as an older woman who controlled this. It's not to
that going back was how controlled she was with her writing.
Yeah, I
is
see.
Indicative of how controlled she was with life, and that's why she didn't end up having an abortion herself.
Yeah. Oh yeah too. Like maybe there's also some wishing that she could have, if she got pregnant so easy as a young person, why she should have just left when her body was more apt to, like when her body was working in the way that, without her needing anything else. Like I should have had a baby then when my body was willing to have a baby.
Yeah.
Well, rather than trying to do this later thing,
but we also don't know if that's the case with her.
Yeah.
Maybe she's having trouble getting pregnant because she's older. Maybe she's having trouble getting pregnant because she has something going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like to think of it like of the teacher thing connection as, I think that she just wanted some. I had the feeling like she's going through this stuff, the older woman, but she's not really having but the way she said about the husband or the partner was like, yeah, he's sad, but sometimes like he's not as sad as me. I feel like she's alone in this too.
Yeah.
And maybe she was that last little paragraph was like her wanting this to. I just want someone to. I wish someone would be there for me. I was for her. Like and going back in those times when I kind of wish somebody else was there. It would have went differently. Maybe I would have had a better memory if I just had someone just did what I did, or someone was that receptive, or someone turned off their own interests. Someone turned off their self-interest for a moment, and like was able to sit with me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good take, actually.
Yeah.
To turn off their own interests. It's
for
really,
for a
it's
second.
good. Hmm.
It's yeah. I mean, it's just it's hard. It's hard for people to do that,
Yeah.
especially in this political age. That's the very
That's very true.
polarizing. Like some people just can't turn off their identity politics for a moment and like sit somewhere,
Hmm.
sit with a bunch of like some conservative person sit with a bunch of beatniks or a bunch of beatniks sitting around with some people that are more religious or people that are more conservative, vice versa.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't be here. Well, you can. It's not possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, I definitely, again, as someone who moved country, um, changing your view, like not, I don't mean changing your beliefs. I mean changing your physical view, going to be someplace that is outside of your comfort zone is really, really good. Like I often have mentioned that I thought I was a pretty left leaning, worldly wise person, especially comparing myself to the people in Tennessee around me. Um, and then I moved to the UK and I realized I was still very American, very closed off from the world. And it opened my eyes to be
yeah.
here. It
Hmm.
opened my eyes to see the world from a different location
Yeah.
physically, but also a different location, uh, like in all aspects, politically, socially, culturally. So I think that's the same with, even if you're in Florida and you always hang out with a certain type of person and
Yeah.
then you go sit with someone that's not
Yeah.
that type of person
Yeah.
and hear what their perspective on life
It's hard.
is.
It's hard. I mean, that's this. It's I see politics in this because what's more like polar like talk about the different ends of the spectrum. A woman who's
Hmm.
trying to have a kid and a woman's trying to get rid of a kid.
Hmm.
Like it's just it's difficult for people to put them shut their preconceived notions off.
Hmm.
And it's like just be a friend, be a help for a moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what she did. And then going back to that with that teacher, she's almost saying like, "Damn, I wish that teacher could just turn it off for a moment and just help me, whatever it
Yeah.
was. Like just make a leap, get out of your
Yeah.
own shit for a second, and give me a hand."
Get out of your own shit.
Yeah, I know it's very good. I'm so happy we went through that. Um. Anyways, we should.
Yeah, like I said, I struggled with that ending a bit, so I'm glad
Yeah.
we
Well,
talked about it.
all I want to say is that I'm making up for last week's blunder. Okay, I because
You figured out something that I couldn't really
Miss
this
Shiny
time.
had us all spinning in circles with her with
With
murderers.
murderers,
Yes,
yeah.
you remember that. We all thought that there was like someone that's lost a finger, but she definitely skillfully wrote pretty much a 5 point essay about how and it's all stuff like when it's like, oh yeah, you can see the Statue of Liberty and Wall Street. Oh, you're high up there. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're not gonna survive that. Okay,
No.
and she looked at that, and not that it's a competition at all, but
No. No.
I feel like I've redeemed myself here by figuring out
Yeah.
this ending. No,
Yep.
hers is. To be fair, hers was more glorious because that was.
No, I don't think so.
I do. I mean, you had multiple people, Tatty, me, Stress Press, everybody with. I think I'm not sure Scrapplejack was here. We were all duped, and that whole read, gleefully duped. But yes,
Well,
so I'm just my check mark goes back on the wall.
there you go.
My goal. I got a gold star for today.
Gold star for today.
So, again, we have
So,
another story from Plowshares, Emerson College,
yeah,
for another author on a different page.
Nick Arvin.
Arvin. So, what can you tell us about Nick
Nick,
Arvin?
Nick Arvin's even younger.
Wow.
And has even less written about him.
Okay.
I don't even know when he was born.
Wow. Okay. This is like, we have to look in the phone book for this shit.
Yeah, I do know where he was born. He was born in North Carolina. He was raised in Michigan. So I feel like he did the opposite of what I did, where I was raised in Chicago and then moved to Tennessee. He has degrees in mechanical engineering. He also he graduated from the Iowa Writers Workshop, which we all have heard of before. Very prestigious for writers. He has worked as a forensic engineer.
Wow.
And in accident reconstruction. And he currently resides in Denver, Colorado. And that is the sum total of what I could find out about this man.
Yeah. That is, Adizia Recovery said, who's the author? This is the story. It's the mystery. We don't know who the hell this person is.
It's the mystery. I'm sure, like, I went to his author page. So this is a cool thing. This author has decided for this year, he is going to write a short story every week. The story we're doing is not one of those, but this is his Substack with all the stories he's written this year so far. He is on number 20 of 52, and by the end of the year, he's going to have 52 short stories.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm glad you provided the link too.
Yeah, so that's the coolest thing I found out about this guy by going to his website, is that he is writing short stories all year long. But yeah, so he the more I like, the one story that I looked at was called The Last Little Man with Wings, and it literally means a little man with wings. The story is about a tiny little man who has wings, who can fly around. So this guy, he's out there with some of his stuff.
It reminds me, like, it's like these authors are so, like, maybe somewhat unknown that they're doing, like, stuff in real time. Like, you call it, like, just try to find who Nick.
Out.
Let me see. Where's Nick Arvine? And, like, you remember that episode of Seinfeld when Kramer was doing a movie line, and he's like, "Welcome to Movie Phone," and it's
oh yeah.
and he's like, and he's trying to sound automated, but then it's like it ends up not being automated. He's like, "Why don't you tell me what the movie you want to see and what times you want to see it?" Because he can't. He's trying to act like an automated service, but it's really him. This is like, I would think Nick Arvin, it would be that, hello, welcome to Nick Arvin, author aficionado. Press 1, press 1 to hear my next story. It is, but it's really like, why don't you tell me the next story you would like to know? Where are you from? I was like, this is not a machine.
If you would like to go on this ride with him, you can subscribe to a Substack with your email address.
Yeah, he'll call you.
Send you a story a week.
He'll call you.
No, I don't think he'll call you.
Hi, this is Nick. Hey, I was just like, I got a little time on my hands. Would you like me to read it to you?
They are very short stories from what I've seen. I haven't actually read all of them.
Yeah, like these are
He's writing the stories live on the phone.
It's like, hello. Yes.
Hello. I'll start.
Where are you calling from? I'm like, oh, West Palm Beach. Oh, I'm like right down the street. Can I go meet you?
Yeah.
Sure, Nick. I think
Nick, let's have a beer.
Yeah, I follow all my fans. There's not many. I'm teasing. God, this is the last time you do it. It's like, don't ever do my story again.
Yeah,
making a mockery.
I heard about this. Don't do it.
Yeah, maybe at the banana farm, Lake Worth. I was like, what? How do you know the bars in my neighborhood? I'm there.
Oh, that no, that actually happened to me once in Edinburgh,
Oh yeah,
where
you did. That's true. You
there's
told me
an
that.
author in Edinburgh called Ian Rankin who writes a series. He writes other stuff, but he's best known for a series of detective stories set in Edinburgh called Rebus. And he sometimes, when he wants to interact with fans, goes down to the actual, like, the pub that Rebus the detective hangs out in is a real pub in Edinburgh called the Oxford
Mm.
Bar. And I happened to be walking past the Oxford Bar looking at Twitter on my phone because I'm a weirdo. And I see a tweet that says, "Hey, I'm in the Oxford hanging out. Stop by and say hi." And I like look up and there's the Oxford bar sign in front of me. And I look in the window and there's Ian Rankin sitting at the bar. And I totally freaked out and kept walking. And but I sent him I replied to the tweet and I was like, "Hey, I just walked past there." Um, and he replied back to me in DMs and said, "What do you mean you walked past? You should have come in." And I was like, "Oh."
I bet he would have said, he would be like, I've been watching you. Yeah, I've been following you all day today.
Probably.
I saw your name on the reading list. I follow all my fans. This is turning into a mystery story. I don't know, like that's a good
No,
story too. Wasn't that like the author that followed his fans
that follows fans.
instead of the fans
Be like,
following
tell
the
me what you thought of my story.
Tell me, sir, I'm in the shower.
Should I change it?
Sir,
What
sir, I'm in the
what
shower.
about the
Please.
ending?
How did you get into this building? How did you?
Who buzzed you in?
Ah, I am a mystery author. Maybe you have to
I
figure
can
that
do
out.
everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is like the over. What's the like the like the mystery becomes you. Like
Yeah.
it's like ah
I'm sure
yes.
that I'm sure there's
Yeah, that's like this.
stories
That
like
seems
that.
like that's probably a movie that's already has been done. It's
Yeah.
like that's Cable Guy. What am I talking about?
Oh yeah, it is.
That's Cable Guy.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh man. Okay,
All right.
we
Are
on a
we
tear
ready
about
for
this.
the
Wow.
crying man?
Okay. All right. The Crying Man. This is very
So
good.
I yeah, I feel like I identified with this man.
Me too. I'm a. Oh, this is go into the story
Yeah, let's go into the
because I'll
story.
have my comments after.
Yeah. So I'll just read the start because I feel like anyone who's ever worked in a corporate job will understand this. For 4 days, I'd been sitting at a conference table with engineers from the different outfits that had been pulled together for this project, and across the table was a guy who I'd bonded with after I'd saved his hide on some controls issues, and he'd saved mine on some line specs. Since then, we had traded a few breezy jokes, but I didn't actually know him very well, and now, our last morning meeting, everyone flying out in the afternoon, I noticed he was staring at me. Um, the the idea of being like in a meeting room and somebody staring at me makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I'd immediately be like, is there something in my teeth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, is my hair doing something weird? Has my shirt come unbuttoned? Like, I would go through all the things that could be wrong, trying to figure out why this person is staring at me.
Yeah.
Um, and this guy, like, is trying to figure that out as well. He like kind of mouths at the other guy, "What?" But um, the guy looks back to the front of the room. The meeting carries on, so he just decides to ignore him. Um, he starts thinking about his daughter. Um, like she wouldn't have liked the meeting at all. I mean, his daughter is quite young, so she doesn't
Mm.
have the staying power to sit through a meeting about something that she would find boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but he wonders what she's doing now. She's probably in daycare or gliding around in the jogging stroller
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this man's wife is doing running training.
Avid runner, marathoner.
A marathoner, yeah. So, but then he's in his head thinking about this, but then he hears the chair across the room like creak, and the guy is turned to look at him again. So he decides to stare him down. Um, and this guy like stares back. And when there's a pause in the speech, he says, "You all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And the guy's like, "But you don't look okay."
Hmm.
Um, and the I hadn't so I hadn't started counting excuses yet, but technically he starts with the excuse, maybe I need some coffee.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Um,
First number
but
one.
this is yeah, this is pre-crying excuse. So we'll call this pre-excuse one.
Yeah.
Um, but the guy's like, "You look kind of haggard." And he's like, "Well, without enough coffee, I'm a frog in the desert." I love some of the turns of phrases in this story.
Yeah.
But you know, everyone's kind of looking at him now, and his boss is like, "Well, it's been a long week. They've been in meetings
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all this week." And he's like, "Well, I'll go get some coffee." Um and he leaves the room, and he starts thinking about his daughter again. But like I just sat there thinking, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah, yeah.
What's wrong with him that everybody's looking at him and concerned? And that's happened to me before, where somebody's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And they're like, "Yeah, but are you all right?" And I'm like, "What's wrong? Like, what do
Yeah.
I look like right now that you felt like you had to like really
Say it.
push that?"
Yeah.
And that I always am like, "Am I just frowning? Is that what it is? Should I smile more?" Like, but this guy's clearly, he doesn't look well, and people are concerned.
Yeah, he goes to the
And he
bathroom,
talked,
right?
yeah, well, he goes, yeah, he steps out. At first, it just talks about his daughter, but he does go to the bathroom. But it talks about his daughter. His daughter's obsessed with lizards and salamanders and tortoises. She is hardcore into um reptiles, amphibians, anything right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and she learns about them. She's not like, "I like turtles and that's it." She like knows the difference between terrapins and tortoises. She knows all about like which ones have what traits and all of it. Like this is her specialist subject right now. It is all about reptiles and amphibians. And it seems like the way he thinks about his daughter, I think, is really sweet. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
he's he's always there's always fondness in his
Yeah.
reminiscing about his daughter.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he goes into the bathroom, looks at himself in the mirror. It says, "The corners of my eyes and mouth drooped in the bathroom mirror. I propped them up with my fingers, and when I let go, they fell." So he can't help it. It's involuntary. He cannot make his face do anything different right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and it says that he knew the cause, but he doesn't feel it.
Yeah.
So this is where we learn that his wife is having an affair.
Yeah.
She it's Go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, no. I was just gonna like she has, like we mentioned that she was a marathon runner, and she has, was having had an affair with another marathon runner, and he found out about this, or
Mm.
she told him,
No, no, we don't know how he found out yet. We
but
will
she, but
find
yeah, but
we
he,
that does get revealed in the story, but at this moment, all we know is that he discovered it and he spent 72 sleepless hours feeling horrible
yeah.
and physically ill
And the
after he
description,
found
it
out.
is important, the description of this guy, because it sounds like somebody who is maybe a little jealousy about maybe his physical appearance. She had sex with
Yeah.
some skinny guy with weird short
Some
arms.
Yeah,
From
some really like no body fat guy, right? Because
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if any of you have seen marathon runners, but my boss is a marathon runner, and I could pick her up and throw her. She is so little.
Yep. Yep.
And and it's really funny because I laugh at what she eats. She literally comes in and her breakfast is uh like a single scoop of Greek yogurt with some fruit in it. And I'm like, how is that enough for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then her lunch will be like a quarter of a sandwich.
Yeah. So she like
And
is yeah.
it's just this body type is very, very distinct from this guy because this guy is more, he's not fat, but he's soft.
Yeah.
He
Normal.
probably, I think he says he has like 12 extra pounds on him or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
The fact that he's like going right after, I, you know, if someone cheats on you and they just look like maybe you could find it like, but by the way you describe the person that did you wrong, in a sense, you could it kind of reveals what your insecurities at the same time. Like I was like, oh man, this guy must be my wife. He, rich dude.
yeah.
I must okay if I have a problem with rich people. Well, my insecurity is that this
Or
person
you
has
have
more
an
money.
insecurity about money. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
this guy, with this,
Really muscular.
muscular.
And then you're like, oh, okay.
I like that shows I'm projecting. I'm like that. That shows that
Yeah.
I have. I'm a little envious of this person's physique, and that's what I got from here. Where I mean, he could have said a lot of things. He's this guy is skinny. He mentioned skinny. He said short arms and marathon training group. So he's just it didn't really again. This is a suppress like he maybe he's not. He doesn't realize that he's suppressing this a bit.
Yeah. Scrapplejack says short arms left me perplexed. I think that just might be his tearing that guy down, trying to find a way to tear him down. Like maybe his arms are kind of normal.
That's what I thought.
but-
Maybe his arms are long. Maybe he has nice arms.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something. Maybe his
Or maybe he thinks his arms are too long and he's like gangly. Like, I don't know. But he's just picking at this guy because this guy
he's hurt.
is
He's hurt.
the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hurt. So he didn't really think that he was still that upset, right? He thought, he found out about this. It's behind him now. He's not that upset about it. He is still upset, but it's not, again, like I was talking about grief, having like that initial reaction, but then you kind of get a little numb. I think he probably thought he was in that numb phase, but he's clearly not.
Yeah. Which a very similar theme to the last story, the stages of grief.
Yeah.
So he went to his car.
Yeah, he just waits for the meeting
to end. He didn't even go back, right? He didn't go back to the meeting. He just waited.
No, because clearly, like, he can't fix whatever's wrong with him, so he figures better for me to just stay out of the meeting, let them finish. And he says to his boss, "I'm sorry, man, that was embarrassing, but I'm feeling good now." And his boss looks at him and goes, "You're crying."
Yeah. And he goes, "No."
No, and he's like, "No, your face is wet, man." Like
you're
and so here's where my excuse counting comes in. And he says, "I'm just so happy we're done." That's why that's excuse number 1 for crying. So he and his boss go to the airport. They are in the queue ready to go, and the guy in the window seat on the plane asks him if he's okay. And here's excuse number 2. "I'm fine. My snake died."
a boa constrictor.
And then a boa constrictor. The way he describes the snake, he's like, "We knew each other perfectly. She slept in bed with me. She curled around me for warmth and she didn't constrict." I'm like, oh man.
So okay,
This is getting out of hand, you and
Well,
your snake, man.
well, also this is like his wife. Like that snake represents his wife. We knew each other perfectly. She, she slept in bed with me. She curled around me for warmth, and she didn't constrict. She loved me. Like this is. I feel like he's just talking about his relationship with his wife. Like,
He also says she woke me with tongue kisses, and I was like, all right, enough.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't. It's like this unrealized grief about
Hmm.
what finding his wife is, finding out that his wife's having an affair, and like he makes up this excuse about Snake, and then like the Snake is starting to represent like his relationship with his wife, and maybe like he was. I
Yeah.
mean, as weird as it is, tongue kisses, but maybe he was
Well,
he was referring to a time when him and his wife were more intimate. Like, oh, we used
I
to.
I also I also think tongue kisses does not mean French kissing here. I think it means that a snake wouldn't kiss you because a snake doesn't have lips. What a snake would do is, you know how snakes put their tongues out to taste the air? I think that's what he's talking about, that they it would be like when they stick their tongue out to taste the air, it would just like hit his cheek.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Teddy
So I
Bidet. I'm sorry. Teddy Bidet said, "Had the affair been revealed to us at this point?" Yes, it's on page
yes.
7.
Yes.
Um, you know, he is when he noticed that he goes. When he looked at himself in the bathroom, he says that his mouth drooped in the mirror, um, and then he was like, he was telling. I mean, it was pretty much telling the reader that why his mouth is drooping is because he was not sleeping. Why was he not sleeping? Because he found out his wife Lana
His wife had yeah.
had an affair with a marathon runner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no,
Also,
that's good.
I'm pretty
Good.
sure
Yeah.
you read that just to say mirror.
I know. I know.
So so the guy in the window seat who asked and got this story about the snake, he is like hard looking out the window now. He does he not interested in whatever this guy's
Well,
deal
yeah, it
is
got
anymore.
weird.
Yeah. And the our narrator looks, he starts thinking about his daughter again. It seems like every time he's getting upset and he can't deal with it, he thinks about his daughter, which
Yeah.
is lovely, you
Yeah, it
know.
is lovely.
Um, it helps him. It says the crying subsided when he thinks about his daughter, so that's nice. But then, as soon as they land, he starts crying again. Um, and he stumbles. His boss Bruce catches his elbow. Excuse number 3. I find myself thinking about all the puppies that are suffering right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell, man? But you know,
Bruce empathizes,
he's
right? Bruce,
yeah. Bruce is like,
he's been divorced.
well, no. The thing is that he could talk to Bruce, but he doesn't. He gives this excuse. But Bruce of anyone would understand. He's been
Yeah.
divorced for 10 years. He could you know, talk through this with them, understand what he's going through, you know. But Bruce doesn't know that this is what this man's going through, so he's just like, what the hell? What do you mean you're upset for all the puppies and the what?
Yeah.
Like, he
Yeah.
has nothing to say. He's just looking at him like, all right.
Okay. So, Scrapple Jack, I want to highlight his comment here. Scrapple Jack said, struck me how he's disassociated since he doesn't realize when he's crying or what's going on. Yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
about new fear unlocked. A little bit about me. I don't like to cry. I will do anything not to cry. I'll think about anything. I don't. Crying to me is the equivalent of throwing up. I just don't like it. It's uncomfortable to me.
Itchy once said to me, it's disgusting.
Yeah. I just don't like. And I do, like, it does happen. I do, like, I watch my daughter dance and I end up tearing up when at the recitals. But I just don't like to do it. I don't like to. I don't like the public inquiry. Like, what's going on? Are you okay? You know. So this is like a horror movie to me, or like, because especially the fact that,
I'm
okay,
sorry, I'm not laughing at your pain, but
no,
like, we are so completely different. I'm like, yeah, I do this all the time. I don't
yeah,
know.
you
That's no
you
problem.
cry on a drop of a dime. For me though, it's just the thing that I guess maybe it's funny because the magical realism part, one author is magical realism, this one's not, but this is like a Twilight Zone episode. The guy who's crying doesn't know he's crying, and people are like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm fine." He thinks is like, maybe it's almost okay to make it more dramatic or to make it a little more stick out more. It would be like someone, like, you think your nose starts bleeding, and you look in the mirror and it's like the strips, like you have a little droplet of blood under your nostril, but like for everybody else, you're gushing blood out of your nose. That's the equivalent of what's happening here. everybody, like, he thinks he's okay. He thinks he's holding it together, but
Mm-hmm.
it's making people stop. Like, people are
Yeah, a little
staring.
boy stares at him.
Yeah,
You
like,
know.
I mean, so, like, think of it like you think that you're fine, yet you're sobbing in
Mm-hmm.
public. So, yes, I that's terribly uncomfortable to me to think about. That would be purgatory. If I ever was in purgatory, that would be my daily. It would just be a day of that. What's wrong? Are you okay? I'm fine.
Yeah.
I saw a funny movie. I can't be crying.
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
man.
so okay,
Well,
so
so
the
now
plane
he
lands, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's where because that's when it lands, that's when he starts crying again. So he goes out to his car. So he and his boss Bruce part ways. He goes to his car. He has another um swap into memory again, right? Or thinking about his life. He talks about an average day. Lana woke up at 4:30 and left for work. He he gets up later, takes Georgia to daycare. At around 4 in the afternoon, Lana leaves her office, picks up Georgia. When she gets home, she changes and goes out for a run.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if she had a marathon coming up, she might be gone for hours. He spends the evening with his daughter, tries to get her to go to sleep. Usually gets her to sleep just a few moments before Lana gets back. Um, when she gets back, she's showered and goes to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he says this line was really hit. He says, "I knew she and I should have made more time for each other, but make time out of what? Construction paper and glitter." So, she goes to bed. He clearly doesn't.
Yeah.
Um, they don't. They pass like ships in the night. Their schedules are not compatible at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so when he gets home, he doesn't get out of the car right away. He didn't want his wife Lana to see him crying, because then she would ask him why, and he doesn't want to let her know that he knows that she was having an affair. And there's another really important bit here. It says, if Lana didn't want me to know about the affair, that was great. As long as she didn't want me to know, our lives could go on. If she
Oh yeah.
told me about a relationship with another man, or even if she only knew I knew, then she would feel committed. So it's like, as long as she's hiding this thing, that means she wants to stay with him. If
Oh.
she tells him about it, she's out the door. That in his mind,
So
that's what he thinks.
you're saying that he's holding on to hope, more or less.
Yeah, as long as she doesn't say anything, he thinks they're still gonna make it.
Yeah. Yeah. So so he finally gets out of the car.
Yeah.
And what happened with that, Shiny?
He really wanted to see his daughter, so that's why he gets himself out of the car. Um, and he wipes his face. He tries to relax it. Um, and but as he's walking from the car across the lawn to the house, he starts to cry again. It starts to come back, and he thinks back to when his daughter has crying fits. You could tell looking at her that his daughter wanted to stop crying, but she just can't. Um, and like it's like emotion is overtaking all rational processes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he thinks that he's having something similar to that, but his daughter's 3 years old. He's an adult, and when it happens to his daughter, it lasts for a few minutes, and for him, it's happening more.
Yeah.
So it's an imperfect comparison for him.
Yeah. Well, it's also imperfect. And I think Scrapplejack even said he's trapped himself into this farce. Yeah. I mean, he's thinking like, what's the logic in that? Oh, if she doesn't mention it, then we're okay.
Yeah,
Not
but
it's
they're
not
not
it's
okay.
but it's also it's really not taking into consideration that, hey, you might be emotionally affected regardless. Like you're having an issue. You're suppressing an issue. Just because your wife is not mentioning this doesn't mean that it's not affecting you. And I think he's underestimating the amount it's affecting him. Case in point, this whole
Yeah.
disconnect, this whole, he thinks he's not crying, he thinks he's not emotional, yet the world around him is like looking at a sobbing
Mm-hmm.
person. So he's living a false reality.
Yeah.
A scary one.
Yeah. So he he sees his wife through the window, and he kind of goes. Certain things trigger exposition in this story. So seeing his wife through the window triggers exposition of how she started running. She did it after her daughter was born to get the weight off. But it wasn't just jogging. She had to go, like, she couldn't just do like a normal person, he says. She had to be a marathon runner. She had
Mm.
to become weathered and lean. Her calf in my hand felt like a rock in a bag. She'd been a bit plump when they married, and he himself carried a dozen pounds of on body provisions against the event of apocalypse and famine. I love that. Um, he talks about their courtship then, how he could always make her laugh, but it was fading. And after Georgia was born, it was worse because they spent a whole year being sleepless, and it fatally poisoned humor for them. But even
Mm.
though George is older now and she's sleeping better, the humor hasn't come back.
Yeah.
Um, but even so, he doesn't really see their relationship as so terrible until he saw the man in her car.
Mm.
And then once he saw that, he thought, actually, no, there's clearly an issue here. Um, but it says his only hope was to be as if he knew nothing. So he is really clinging to this not knowing is what's
Out of sight, out
saving
of
things.
mind.
Yeah. So he goes up to the porch to go in, and his wife opens the door, and like he's crying. And she said, "What's wrong? Did you lose your job?" And here comes excuse number 4. A guy cut me off on the highway, a real asshole move, and somehow I felt bad for his mother, but I'm okay.
Wow. That's a stretch.
It really is.
That's a stretch and a half.
Um,
And again,
yeah, so
you aren't fine. You're crying. You aren't fine.
yeah.
And he goes back. He even goes back to the Allegro excuse. So maybe they could add that to the list.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh,
Yeah, he
I feel
it's an
bad. Like,
allergy.
I feel like it. Sixes or sevens. I don't know what this is. Allegro will fix it. I bet." And then like the daughter just appear like comes through the door. It's excited,
Yeah.
Daddy. Uh,
She speaks to him in Latin.
yeah. It's some. It's very you know child who loves education and likes to learn
Yeah,
things.
she loves to know things.
Yeah.
Um, but because he's crying, his daughter is upset. And she's like getting more and more upset, and his wife is like, "You're upsetting your daughter. Like, you need to stop."
Which I was like, I thought was kind of a dick move on his wife's part. Like I don't. I mean, I guess in all fairness, she doesn't know that he knows. But I don't know if someone's crying. Like, stop doing that. Stop. Like, what would you tell someone to stop?
Yeah.
It seemed. I don't know. I didn't like the way that came
Yeah,
across.
yeah, yeah. But, it like his daughter is really like she's really upset about this. And the wife tells the husband to go back outside.
Yeah,
Like,
almost like he's sick.
Well, I mean, I sort of get it though, because he's the adult, and if he can't regulate his emotions for
Mm.
the 3-year-old that is clearly getting worked up, kids don't want to see their parents die, their parent not die, their parents cry
Wow,
at
that's a jump.
3. I know, I totally went off the deep end there. No, but kids don't want to see that. Kids
That's true.
expect their parents to be
I
the
see it.
strong ones
Yeah,
to,
I see it now.
so she may be coming across harsh with him, but the thing is he is the adult and he's upsetting a child. My mom never let me see her cry when she was going through the divorce with my dad. She jogged a lot, like a lot, but she never let me see her cry. Um, but I see what Scrapplejack said there. Kind of surprised me she didn't guess she might have something to do with him having a breakdown. Maybe she
Exactly.
didn't want to know either.
I
And,
felt the same
you
way.
know,
I was
yeah,
like,
why doesn't
hey,
she kind of go, huh, what's going on here?
yeah, she's not like in like this like protective like this force. Like she has some force field around her. Like things, like all her like bad doings are not gonna be. Maybe he won't find out. I don't think it crossed her mind. I think she's self-absorbed. He's like, don't cry. It's affecting me. It's affecting your
Hmm.
kid. Like, don't do this here. Um, I just thought it was just kind of unemotional. I see both sides. I think initially I was on Scrapplejack's. I can't shake that. Like, hey,
Yeah.
your husband's crying for no reason. Don't you think maybe it might have something to do with like something like you could guess, or she could be in denial. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to come to
Yeah.
terms with it. And that was her way, like her defense mechanism. Stop doing that. Don't you bring up the past, or don't bring up anything that
Yeah.
we can't talk about. So, but yeah,
So now we have his wife goes inside with their daughter. He sits on the porch crying and he starts thinking about the affair.
yeah.
Sometimes his daughter has a hard time going to sleep, so he puts her in the car and goes for a drive. His wife is out, doing her running thing. But when he goes out, he sees his wife's, or well, while he's driving, he sees his wife's car and his wife driving it, and there's a man in the passenger seat, and he decides to follow them. Uh, he follows them to a motel, just a random old motel. Um, and he parks in front of a bar across the street and watches them hop out of the car, both in little runner shorts, the man wearing a baseball cap, his shorts showing naked, fatless legs,
Oh, he
his
goes, yeah.
weird little arms swinging with delighted machismo, and they go into a room. So that's all he needs to see to understand what's
Put the
happening.
pieces together.
Yeah. He sits there for a while, but Georgia gets, whiny. He doesn't want her to start crying. He tries to tell her a story. He tells her stories that could be any nonsense. It doesn't really matter what the story's about. Sometimes it says he recaps an episode of Seinfeld. He's just trying to get her to laugh rather than cry. Um, but when she's upset, the story has to be good to get her out of it. Um, and he starts to tell her a story, but he has her for a moment, but he can't keep it going well enough. And so she starts crying. So he can't wait. He decides to leave and go home. Um, and it was an hour later before his wife gets back, showered, and gets into bed. Like she gets home already showered, is how I understood it, and goes to bed.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, he's sitting on this porch still crying. It's getting later, darker. People are out walking their dogs, doing their nightly stroll. He, says hello to all of them. Um, and Lana comes out and puts her hands on his shoulders, which he feels like is a suggestion of sympathy. Um, and she sat beside him,
Yeah, yeah.
hugs her arms around her chest and says, "Maybe you should go to a doctor. I've never seen you like this." Um, he
He
says he
try
feels okay.
he tries to make her laugh, which is like
Yeah, he tries to
uh,
make it a joke.
which he used to be successful at.
Hmm.
He says the doctor's bill would really make me cry. She didn't laugh. Another
No.
evidence that they maybe drifted apart. Um, yeah, I don't know. She's just not really putting things together here.
Hmm.
Trying to distance herself. Like, is it me? She's like, you should go see a doctor. You should do this. Are you feeling all right?
Yeah.
Not and any of that talking. It has nothing to do. She's not like really probing in a way that maybe he would want.
Yeah.
Um, it
He
kind of
starts talking about a girlfriend he had in sophomore year of college,
yeah.
that would always ask him what he was thinking about, and he didn't have any answer, so he just said her.
That's a good
What do you think
answer.
about you?
You. That's something I would do. Swimming pools.
Yeah. Um,
But yeah,
so
yeah. I was like, I just kind of want, I want to go back to that scene, the previous scene.
hmm
How like, imagine like driving in a car, you're trying to like, you're trying to make your daughter fall asleep. I used to drive around my daughter too when she couldn't sleep. And then you see like your partner in the car with somebody else, and then you follow them. I feel like it's like you park across the street from where they're at. You see them go into a motel room together, and you're like it's almost like a double betrayal because you're sitting there with the child you made, and you're watching like their your spouse do something, and you're like, how dare, like I could just see that being such a sin. Like I'm here and like the our baby's right in behind me,
Yeah, he's taking care of the child.
and watching his wife have this affair. Um,
Yeah.
and like I mean, it's not like they went too far. It seems like they're still in town too. It's not like they tried to be secretive too much. But it's just I don't know. I could just like one of those things where I don't think he processed how much that affected him, which I feel shows that this is why the disconnect. He's having this disassociation. He's crying because he really I don't think he really like thought about how much that hurt his feelings. Um, so I just think it's just one of those things but it's good to mention that again because I feel like of all the things that could affect him, that was that visual for him was very striking.
Yeah.
It would be for me, and on multiple levels, especially if your kid's in the back seat, like trying to sleep, or your baby's there. It's
Yeah, well,
a symbol of the union between.
there could be some resentment there, right? I'm looking after our child and you're out there
Yeah, yeah,
getting your
it's
rocks off.
yeah, it's like it's. I mean, I guess it's like a nice cocktail of anger, sadness. Like it's a lot of things put together in that scene. Like you're hurt, but then
Hmm.
you're also angry. Like I'm like
Yeah.
and doing all these things happening at once. But I just didn't want to like go over that too fast because it's when you read it when I read it or when we talked about it, I go, wow, I guess I didn't understand the magnitude of the situation until
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
that's rough.
Um, yeah, so I'm at the bottom of page 12.
Yeah, I saw that.
Lana's saying that she already ran.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia fell asleep in the stroller, so she may not go to sleep very well. Um, and, you know, he thinks about how she's probably bored in that jogging stroller.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Lana's like, it's the only thing to run, all I ask. And even that gets pushed aside. So so I think like they both have resentment around her running. He has resentment around her running because it takes so much time. She has resentment around her running because she feels like she has to fight to get that time.
Mm.
This is the one thing she loves to do.
Yeah.
This is her hobby. And we talked about this previously and you were like, "Oh, it's just marathon running." But I pointed out to you that it's not. For her,
Yeah.
this is a big deal. This is the thing that she loves to do as much as you love music or reading.
Yep.
This is the
Yep.
thing, or I love reading. This is the thing she loves to do. And to ask her to not do that thing isn't very considerate of him either. That doesn't mean she shouldn't make time for her husband or make time for her family. But, you know, I don't think it's unreasonable for her to want to do this hobby.
Yeah.
Um, so he he then says that he's puzzled with how much of her running time she actually spent running.
Which is also like a not not admission of guilt, or it's more of he's starting to like give hints that, hey, I know what you're doing. Like, oh, you
Yeah,
run a lot, huh? Oh, you have a lot of time running. It takes
yeah,
all that time. Are you running that whole time, or are you like running up the stairs to the
yeah.
motel or the hotel? So yeah, it's like again, like that whole like I'm gonna Scrapple Jack was saying this, that whole whatever construct he has, like, oh, if she doesn't mention it, it's fine, we're good. Well, obviously, it's like you have this information about her, and you're being passive aggressive, so it's
Yeah.
not good. Like, don't
Yeah.
it doesn't. I think it's
Well, and
worse.
he does because he says, "I bet if you smiled when you said that, you'd feel better." Like, so if she complains about running while smiling, that'll be better for her. But she pushes him. She says, "Are you going to tell me what's going on?"
Yeah.
Excuse number 5. This meeting felt a lot like beating my own head against a wall for 4 days straight. That's why he's upset.
Okay.
But
Underline.
she doesn't take that. She's like, if you won't tell me, then this is just annoying. I'd rather sympathize. So she is trying. She wants to know what's wrong so that they can deal with it. I don't think she realizes what he knows though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really
That's
don't.
true. That's true.
Um and
Uh,
he says it's annoying to him too. The fact that he's crying and can't stop.
mm-hmm.
Um and she says it's annoying and kind of pathetic and he says how can you say that to a man who's crying? Again, he's trying to make a joke, but she is like she can't she just reacts really badly to it. Um he tries to change the subject and she tells him about something that happened with the daughter while he was away. They went to the zoo. They had this little endeavor where she had to they gave her a they made a stethoscope out of materials, gave her a toy crocodile, and she helped the crocodile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so she decided she wanted to be a veterinarian after this. And she wanted to tell her dad about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's like, oh, that does make me happy to hear that. Um, and he says, I'm so predictable. And this, I think this conversation that's happening here is so much deeper than the surface
Yeah.
level that the conversation is happening,
Yeah.
because Lana then says, "We all are." Um, and at this point, we finally get to the meat of the thing, and Lana says, "I need to talk about some things."
Mm-hmm. Well,
Now, as
she.
soon as I
Yeah.
read that, I wrote worrying out to the side because from his standpoint, I would that would be worrying.
Yeah.
I've I've had that conversation before where I was in his place. That's never good when it starts out like that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's pretty much saying I'm already like this happened, and like I think we talked about this. I maybe I should have told you earlier, but
yeah.
I'm already here emotionally. I may have left the relationship mentally, or I have left the relationship mentally,
Yeah.
and I'm just letting you know now that maybe it's like it's done.
Yeah. So she says, "I promised myself we would talk when you got back." And he immediately is like, this is terrible. This is awful. This is the thing that cannot happen." Um, because he says that, one of the things that he had once liked about his wife was her sense of commitment. Um, and it was an absolute for him. Her commitment to him was an absolute in his life. All else might alter and drift, but I would have her commitment to me, a thing of magical durability.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, that is not the case. Um, Again, I get this, not even from a relationship standpoint. I had a job that I thought had magical durability, that people came to this business and they stayed there, they never left.
Yeah.
And then we went through a round of redundancies. We lost half our team. And it doesn't matter that I kept my job. It altered my perception of this company forever. Now they're a
Mm.
company that gets rid of people. Um, Now my security blanket is gone. And I feel like in this moment, he loses his security blanket.
Yeah. Yeah. And his denial is on the table now. Like he really can't avoid it now.
No. And she asks him, "Do you feel all right about how things are?" But he doesn't reply to that question. He asks her if she remembers whether newts have gills.
Mm.
And as soon as he does that, she stops having any care or concern for him.
Mm.
She
He checks out.
she was trying to speak to him with kindness and with some sympathy. And as soon as he does that, her expression turns bitter and cold.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that because it's almost oh you're not telling me what's wrong with you, but you didn't really tell him what you did either. Like you're not really being transparent. So why you
No, but
upset?
I think she's reaching out. I think
You feel like
I think
that
she's
response is immature.
well, it's certainly not addressing the issue.
Yeah.
I'm not, no, Taddy says I'm really empathizing with this lady. I'm not empathizing with her exactly. I think she's wrong. I think she should not be having an affair. I do have empathy for the fact that a relationship could start to fall apart and both parties have to be involved in getting it back together. And he isn't trying to get it back together. He is putting his head in the sand.
Yeah. He's a little in the denial about everything that's going on.
That doesn't excuse her behavior though, at
Yeah, I
all.
know. I that's why I
Does
have
not excuse her
that's why
behavior.
I have a like don't get mad. Like he didn't. This problem existed. Well, it could have existed before that. They would have been. They seemed like they're drifting apart. She's in the one thing. Even DJ Recovery Ray said marathon running isn't just a marathon running. It's a whole lifestyle. It's true. Like this is like if
Yeah.
someone does something like that, has a hobby. It's not just a hobby. It's like it really takes over your life. It's there's like culture of it all. So if he's drifting towards that way, or she's drifting towards that way, and he's not involved, it can make it seem like they're in different worlds.
Yeah.
And
But I would point out that he has already mentioned that they were drifting apart before her
yeah,
affair. And I think again, it doesn't excuse her, but I think the issue was there before the affair.
yeah,
So to excuse him or to treat him like the wronged party alone isn't really fair to her either. Like I can't emphasize this enough. She did wrong, but it stemmed from someplace.
yeah, yeah.
If
It
you if you don't make it like a garden, if you don't, oh no, that could go bad. But if you don't feed the relationship, if you don't look
you gotta
after
put
it and nurture
fertilizer on
it,
her.
I was gonna say you need to make sure it's watered, but then that was never gonna be good. So anyway, if you don't nurture your relationship, it's gonna die.
Yeah, yes, yes.
And I 100% agree that marathon running is a whole lifestyle. It absolutely is. Like I said, my boss is a marathon runner. Her husband isn't. But do you know what her husband does? He goes to every marathon and cheers her on like it's her first marathon. He is her biggest fan.
That's awesome.
It doesn't matter that he doesn't spend hours running with her.
He's eating
He
hot
supports
dogs
her in
while
the
he's
way
eating
that he
hot
can. Yeah,
dogs.
he's eating hot dogs
Watching
and
her.
watching her and cheering her on. He does stupid things too. He makes huge signs with her name on it. Like
Yeah. Well, so maybe if they had something like that,
mhm.
it would pan out better for them, but they didn't, and it seemed like they were just
Yeah.
kind of. He was kind of
Neither,
like we were
he's
trying to
not
figure out
putting the
does he have,
effort in.
we were trying to figure out if this like, what kind of person this guy is. I feel like he doesn't have a lot of friends. I feel like he just goes to work, comes home, kind of person. Like I have my family,
Yeah.
which is good. I get that, but sometimes it's. I think sometimes when you're with somebody and they don't have a hobby or don't have anything, and just do like they're a little bit of a lump. I don't know.
Don't knock lumps. I've been a lump before.
no, but I mean, like you have, but you crochet, you have other things that you've been to video games and things. But I'm talking about if one person has a hobby or has things that they're into and another person doesn't, it's almost like you feel guilty for being into the things you are because you're like, oh, what do you do tonight? I don't know, thinking of you, hanging out. I get back from work, think of you, come home, go to sleep. And you're like, oh God, and you're like, oh, I did I'm into this gym thing, and you kind of don't even want to say anything because it seems like you're pulling away.
Mhm.
But it's just I could see it like maybe the reason she pulled away is he's kind of doesn't really have anything going on.
Yeah,
But
again, like
it doesn't excuse
the
her
reason
behavior.
the reason for the initial like drifting apart could be anything. There could be so many reasons. But, you know, they both have to work to find connection in the
Yeah,
things that they can. And he doesn't seem to be trying to find connection with her.
yeah.
At least not based on what I've read in this story.
It's maybe this whole thing is inevitable. It doesn't matter what happens. That's what happens in life. Sometimes people drift apart, and maybe she sees it more than he is. He does.
Yeah. Scrapplejack said, well, it also makes sense her worldview would differ since she's got a marathon partner who shares it and they help each other with physical therapy. It can feel right in the body, so believing all else is marginable. I think that, again, it's really funny actually because the name of my boss's running coach is the same as the name of her husband. But so sometimes when she's telling stories, I have to be like, wait, which one is it? But you know, she spends a lot of time with this other man because
Yeah.
he is training her. But she also spends a lot of time with a bunch of women who are in her running club, you
Yeah.
know, and they actually have, her and these women have gone on holiday together. And it's a holiday her husband wouldn't enjoy. So he doesn't go on that holiday with her. Then there's another time in the year where they go to Greece together and sit on an island in the sun and the water and have a good time. So I think it's not about the things that are different. It's about making sure you still have things that you do together.
Yes.
And that's what I feel this couple lacks.
Yeah.
She can have her marathon with her, you know, running friends and everything like that, but she
Running
needs to connect
events.
with her husband
Yeah.
on some level
Yep. Yep. Yep.
in order to not need to connect with some guy in her marathon club or her running club. That's and again, doesn't excuse her. I can't emphasize that enough. Yeah, is it Marathon Steve or Hubby Steve? I've seriously, I've had to ask that question. It's not Steve, but yes, that.
So, um, so this like
Yeah, so
this kind of
they keep talking about like she asks him if something hurts. And he can't reply.
mm,
She but he starts thinking about, oh, maybe I could remarry. My father had me remarried when I was in high school. Um, his second wife was a heavy woman, 15 years younger than him, a cheerful woman, laughing too much and always in the same way, like a
a-
doll with a pull string.
again projecting. Like he's
Yeah,
like, oh, someone I'm gonna marry someone like is heavier, so they wouldn't be like they will never run in their life. Like like he wants someone that's like so far away from marathon running. Like it's it kind of upsets me, but not upsets me, but annoys me how much like he is this, I guess, passive aggressive in this sometimes.
yeah. But Georgia comes out.
Yeah, that's the daughter. Yeah.
She comes out. She tried to go to sleep, couldn't. Um, but it stops them from having the conversation that the wife is trying to have,
Mm.
which they weren't having it anyway because the husband is trying real hard not to have it.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but they start talking. His daughter starts talking about blue-eyed newts that she had for dinner, but it really is blueberries. And you know, he teases his daughter a little bit about this. Um, and he kind of he uses this as like a way to get out of this uncomfortable situation with his wife. Um, he tells his wife that he'll go put his daughter to bed. He takes her upstairs.
Hmm.
Um, she she's crying because he's still upset. Um, but he tells her it's story time, and he's like, "But what's wrong?" And then he realizes that it's because he tries to pick her up, and she's like almost like pulling away from him and shuddering. And he's like, "It's all right. I'm home. Everyone's home. Don't cry. What's wrong?" And she says, "You're sad." And here comes excuse number 6. This is only something like a cold. Um, so then she asks him if he knows what a tuatara or that a
Listen.
tuatara lizard has 3 eyes. Um, and he asks he you know responds to her and she goes, "Do you think they cry when they cry? 2 eyes cry or 3?" And he says, "I bet they cry with their knees," which makes her laugh. And he asks her if she wants a story. So he starts to tell her a story, and this just says to me he's got so much of his situation in him. He
Yeah.
can't get away from it because
Yeah.
he starts to tell a story. She wants a happy story. and all he can do is tell a story about two best friends who are not together. It's a snake and a
Yeah.
frog. The
And
snake
it,
falls, like, becomes enamored with a rock. So the frog goes and finds a stick, and they just can't get together. And his daughter complains. She says, "No, they need to be friends. It needs to be a happy story." And he
yeah.
tries, and he can't.
You can't do it.
It just keeps staying sad. And she gets upset and she screams. And he's like, "No, no, no, no," because if she is upset, then his wife's gonna come in. Um, but it says, "I couldn't get my mind to bend that way to make the story happy."
Well,
He's
obviously, if your foundation is off, it's cracked. Like everything
Yeah.
that's like he didn't seem to understand that he's suppressing all this anger and is coming out in various ways. It's his he's crying. He doesn't know he's
Hmm.
crying. His is affecting his work. Is affecting his interactions with people. Um, is affecting his conversations with his wife are like laden
Hmm.
with passive aggressiveness and quips and little this things like that. And then his daughter, he can't even like say a bedtime story without the situation seeping through.
Hmm.
Um, I. I would dare to say that this person has zero self awareness.
He really doesn't.
I mean, he lacks self awareness, really. Like maybe that's maybe one of the downfalls of this relationship too. Like he's like can't read the room.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I feel like he missed his wife's dissatisfaction.
yeah. But yeah, and it's maybe he would have seen it sooner if he was. I mean, what's the reason for this? Is this his personality? Is he just too busy with work? I mean, he knows the importance of having his daughter around. I mean, maybe he just
Yeah.
doesn't. He sees his roles and doesn't look beyond them. It's like I'm doing here.
I,
I put food on the table.
yeah, I don't like I don't have a child, right? So I can't talk about how that affects a couple. But I did watch my aunt and uncle, and when they had kids, my aunt became all about those kids.
Yeah,
And it was upsetting to my uncle, not because he didn't love his kids, he absolutely did, but he still wanted to be important to his wife.
yeah,
And, they had this daughter. It seems like this guy really focuses in on his daughter. He's trying to be a good dad to her. You know, he's maybe taken the bulk of the parenting in this right now, even though he has a job, but like, he's the one who spends the evening with her and puts her to bed. His wife is leaving at 4 a.m. and going out and running when she gets done with work. So, maybe he put all of his effort into his daughter and forgot to put effort into his wife. Um, so we don't really know why they started to fall apart, but I certainly think it's not all on his wife.
yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and he puts his daughter to bed. He does get her to bed again. He manages to sort of fake a happy ending for the story.
Mm.
And he decides that if he sits in the room with his daughter all night and uses her like a shield, his wife can't talk to him. And if they don't talk, things don't have to change.
Yeah.
But as he's sitting there crying still, he hears his daughter start to cry in her sleep. And he realizes that maybe his sadness is infecting his daughter and he needs to leave.
Yeah.
And when he steps out into the hallway, his wife is there.
Hmm. Yeah. He. I feel like they're doing these things together. This is like the evidence that maybe okay. Yes, they have changed, but they're still like they have this connection with the child.
Hmm.
Um, which is kind of it shows itself in this next scene, right?
Yeah.
With their is it does I have on the right part, right? What page are we on? Just want to make sure.
Um, this is it's the last page, 18.
18. Um, they're kind of kind of being there for their kid
Hmm.
in ways, and it's like I feel like it's like the last thing that they have, in
Yeah.
terms of like if it's I like to think of it like a silver lining for like like yeah, they have all these things that they don't share together. I mean, they may have changed, but they have this ability. They both made this child together, and it's and they share this. Only they can share this.
Hmm.
Um, and it maybe it's a little like a glimmer of hope, but also I remember Shiny telling me beforehand it may be not enough.
Yeah. I think they need more than that.
They need more. They need more than that. It was
And his wife says that she's going to sleep on the couch. And
yeah.
I think that that just speaks to the fact that if they can't have a conversation, then she is really just checked out. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know that if there was coming back from the affair, but I know for sure there's no coming back from the affair if he refuses to talk to her. And she says to him, "I wish you would stop that." And we get his last excuse, which was, "I'm only crying to spite you."
Yeah.
Um, but he says it's a joke. But at that moment, their daughter makes a noise, and they stay there silently because they're trying to determine if they need to go back into her or if she'll just go to sleep.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that's the most in sync the two of them have been through this whole story,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I
is
was.
standing there quietly waiting to see if their daughter needs
They
them.
know the language. It's like they're so like they've nights and nights upon nights of listening and knowing the sounds of their daughter when what each murmur means, and like
Hmm.
they can almost tell like which side of the bed she's on, or the crib she's on,
Yeah.
or or um what she needs. It was like they have this skill, the shared skill. It's like private between them, and it doesn't matter like whatever hobbies. Like he can go support her, as a marathon, support her marathon lifestyle and be there for her, and she. I mean, she can support whatever he does, which is probably nothing. Um, and but it's like it's beyond that. This is something that it's very private between them, and I think
Hmm.
that if they were willing to think about it, it could be a different story where they go, you know what, this is what we're gonna let's start from here.
Yeah,
If we're
that
gonna
could be
start
the
over,
starting point.
let's start over. We've made mistakes. I've made mistakes, but this is what's most important in life: us
Hmm.
being here for our daughter. But does it do that? No, I don't think it does. This creates more distance. She goes on the couch, and the writing's on the wall at that point.
Yeah.
This is done,
Yeah.
and
I mean, again, the story ends there, so we don't know what comes next, but
I
unless
can safely
unless
assume
they're
that
both willing to
yeah,
like move towards each other,
yeah,
this marriage is done.
yeah, and it also says too about when if you think something's just gonna simply go away, it's not.
No,
You
it
can't.
takes work.
It takes work, and living in ignorance is not gonna. It's not gonna be the answer, and
No.
or ignoring it, because look at him. He's the crying man. He will
Yeah.
always, until he resolves this issue on a molecular level, like if deep,
On a molecular level.
like he is going to be the crying man to the end of
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
He's gonna keep on doing this, and maybe it is like this will start something. Like maybe he hasn't had anything in his life that made him like this. Maybe he's been able to skate through life without having to address anything inside himself.
Yeah.
And those are the scariest people, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he's just coasted.
He's
Maybe he's
coasted
coasted
so
this whole
long,
time.
um, and then this is the result of that coasting. Just almost like mysterious uh,
Yeah.
bodily reaction he can't has no control over. It's more than
Yeah.
just bursting out into tears. It's like he doesn't even know he's crying.
Yeah.
That's the scary
It's
part.
like he's leaking
Yeah,
and he
he
has no idea.
yeah yeah, and
I think, my mom once told me something, because my mom and my stepdad were very different. She was from the north, he was from the south. She was a hippie, he was in Vietnam. Um, she was really into art. He would make fun of any modern art he ever saw, you know,
Philistine.
but they did, yes, but they didn't have an unhappy marriage. My mom met him halfway, and he met her halfway. And they worked to find the things that they both enjoyed. She liked museums. He wasn't much a fan of them, but he went to the Cowboy Museum with her in Oklahoma because he liked cowboys, So
Yeah,
like they found ways to connect. And I think that's what this couple lacks. They're just not.
yeah. They're not willing to put in that extra like
It takes effort to
it's
be
like
with someone a long time.
yeah. I didn't even know what they had before.
No,
Jokes.
that's true. It didn't really, there wasn't really a lot he doesn't describe what they had before, which is maybe part of the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Not to say that humor is not. I think humor is a very important part of a relationship. My wife makes
Oh
me
yeah, I
laugh.
couldn't be
My
with
wife makes me
someone
laugh
who
every
had the
day.
same sense of humor as me.
Like
Yeah.
every day, my mom, my wife just like says something. I laugh for real. Like sometimes I laugh,
Yeah.
and it's like, but I actually like uncontrollably laugh with stuff she says, and I think it's important like to be with someone that has that ability with you. This is comfort. We get to think to be to laugh. You got to be a little comfortable too.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't. Did that's a good take because you thought maybe he was trying to he was like grasping for anything to describe them their life.
Yeah. And again, I agree with you. Um, Having a similar sense of humor is very important. It's it's part of how my partner and I got together. He
Yeah.
made me laugh like ridiculously all the time, but that can't be the only thing either. You have
Yeah.
to build up like multiple things.
Yeah. Yeah. Scrapple Jack said, or actually Dreadfellow. It's like Hamartia, like Hamlet, indecisiveness. Yeah. Like the fellow, yeah. I feel like this pairing is not like maybe the best. Um, one is trying to do one thing and the other is fighting it. Even when they try to like reconcile, it's like a fight in the attempt to reconcile. So it's yeah, that's a good point, Dreadfella. Scrapple Jack said the daughter's creativity and curiosity and love and connection with all the creatures felt important. Yeah, I feel like the daughter represented like like an appreciation for like maybe they have to step back, like the parents just step back and say, let's maybe let's take inventory of what the things that we get, the things that we share. You know, maybe that scene at the end with hearing the like holding on to every sound of the daughter, hearing her cry, and knowing what that meant. That was like a starting point. It should have been. It should have been like, okay,
Yeah.
let's this is the nucleus of our relationship. Let's kind of sit in it for a second, and then maybe being here will remind us why we are together. Um, but I don't know. I don't want to be a pessimist, but I feel like they had the opportunity and then that and it left. It wasn't like they got to that room and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, and as we've mentioned, she maybe took a step that can't be coming, that they can't come back from.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so it's tough, but we also don't know if she was, we only are hearing this from the narrator's standpoint. We don't know if she was giving him signals or if she was
well,
trying to talk
and
to him
he's
before or, if
unreliable
he
narrator.
exactly,
Oh my
exactly. We have no
goodness.
idea if he was ignoring things that she was, she may have been trying to reach out all the time and we don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like we have a skewed perspective from the guy doesn't even know when he's crying. How the hell am I going to trust him?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
love. I think thematically they both stories share that some people at the one end of trauma, and then
Hmm.
somebody at the complete opposite end of it,
Yeah.
or grief.
Hmm.
I didn't think whatever she did. I think she was past it. I think she seemed past the relationship, his wife, and he was kind of like,
Yeah.
and the
Well, in order to be willing to do what she did, I think she had to be at a point where she thought it was over.
well, you mentioned a good point before too, privately, like you said, maybe she wished she would have said something sooner. Like she maybe there's a
She
little
she she says I probably should have said something sooner.
yeah before
She
it
says that when she tries to talk to him. She
yeah.
says,
Well, yeah, pretty much saying like instead of like I shouldn't have waited till I had an affair to say that
yeah,
we were there was some disconnect. I should have just said something then when I felt it.
yeah, yeah. She said, yeah, because she says, I need to talk about some things. Probably should have said something sooner,
Yeah.
but right before your trip didn't seem like a good timing. So even that that sooner, if sooner was just right before his trip, that probably still wasn't soon enough.
Is Shani? Is she referring to the trip that he just went on?
Yes.
Oh wow, so this is
Yes,
pretty
that's what I'm
recent.
saying. So
This is pretty recent.
so
Yeah.
it is pretty recent. So but that's what I'm saying. That's probably already after her affair started.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um yeah, Scrapplejack says felt that since wife was ticked with him in a way that she felt was just. Yeah, so I think that's a way that people make an excuse for themselves. Uh do you know I knew someone, I'm not even going to call them a friend. I didn't really like this person, but I knew someone who had had an affair with her first marriage. Um and she felt 100% justified in that affair because her husband worked all the time and didn't pay attention to her, and she felt like she was justified in going and seeking love someplace else.
Yeah. Mm.
So, you know, again, not something I agree with, but sometimes that's the view that people take.
Yeah. 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 I worked with a guy one time. He had a stroke, so half his body didn't work. But he didn't want to be in a wheelchair. Like he wanted to walk around, so he walked around like a limp. And
Hmm.
like he had that stroke, and then his wife was kind of like I don't know, maybe lost interest in him physically. I'm not sure. It seemed
Hmm.
like they had a family together and everything else.
Hmm.
Or he wanted I mean, he wanted maybe to be more intimate more often than she did.
Hmm.
And he was like, "Well, I'm gonna go and get it somewhere else." So I guess he went to strip clubs and you know kind
Hmm.
of got maybe I'm assuming that maybe he got escorts or whatever. and stuff. And she was like, okay, why don't you stay out there? It's fine. And he goes, okay. But now the divorce. But it was like, I feel like that weirdly, there was this like that justification, like, oh, okay, well, you don't
Yeah.
like me, so I'm gonna just
Well,
find my
I've
way.
got I've got an even weirder situation for you.
Lay it on me.
I listen to a podcast called Bot Love. It sounds dodgy, but I swear it's not. It was talking about this new trend. It's not new anymore, but when I listened to the podcast, it was pretty new, of people having relationships with chatbots, essentially.
Wow.
And there was a woman that they interviewed for the podcast whose husband had become bedridden and she had to take care of him all the time. He was dying of this illness that he had, and she was his caretaker.
Mm.
And she loved him. Her love for him had not diminished in any way. She was going to stay with him until his last breath. He was her husband, he was the love of her life. But she was lacking affection because he was too unwell to give her any, even verbally. He was,
Mm.
I don't know if he was catatonic or if he just wasn't verbal. I don't know. But she was going to be devoted to him until he died. But for her to get what she needed, she started talking to a chatbot. And she did not feel like this was an affair because, one, it was a bot, but also it was keeping her with her husband. If she could get what she needed from talking to an AI, then
Mm.
she could stay with her husband and look after him for as long as she needed to. And she very, like, when they interviewed her, she was very clear that this was what she was seeking out of it. That she just needed to feel love and she couldn't get that from her husband. So this was her answer.
Wow. Hot bot.
But I don't even think it was that. There was another woman in the podcast that her husband died and she uploaded like all of his text messages to a chat bot and then talked to it like it was her husband. So there was all sorts
Oh
in
my
this
god.
podcast. Yeah. I just yeah. I don't know. You know as well that I have a very different view of some things because of the people that I know. I know, and we've talked about this, it's not always very healthy, but I know several very healthy polyamorous relationships.
Mm.
Um, I have a friend down south who is asexual and her husband definitely isn't. And for her, it makes more sense for him to have other partners.
Yeah.
And she's fine with that. And they love each other. I've seen them together. They love each other. But she needs him to be happy and to get what he needs. So, and she's friends with most of his other partners.
That's
Talks about them like they
wow.
hang out together. So, but some people are very different.
Mm. I know I would be.
Yeah.
I don't have it in
So,
me. But excellent. Lovely way to go through the story. Flesh it out.
hmm
Appreciate everyone's comments. Such a it's we used to say we always say it's not mandatory to read these stories, but it makes these conversations a lot richer when when
Yeah, we
people
love your input.
love the input. It
Absolutely.
really it helps us. A lot of times the input steers me in a different direction that I would have thought on my own or even shiny. So
Mm.
it's like it's great. We do appreciate having the back and forth. And for those that want to keep up with these stories, please join us. We're pretty good about posting everything in the Discord under there's a Itchy Quarter Book Club channel, and we have everything there. We have our adverts. We have a link to our YouTube. Yeah, thank you, Shiny, and um, looking forward to leave comments and tell your friends. We try to make literature approachable. We have a lot, like I
hmm
have a lot of experience. I'm actually going to grad school now, And for literature, Shiny's so well read. She's been a lifelong reader, so it's a nice. We pair well with this. It's always a joy to discuss short story books, and even have some visual components too. But we just always, but
Mhm.
we want to make it. If you ever feel like intimidated by, oh, I can't talk about how do I hell analyze a story, you can. You're doing it right now, and you're doing a great job.
Yep.
Everyone's doing. It brings me joy that people are feeling comfortable. We never want this thing to be gate kept. These stories may be short, but I feel like they're life changing in ways because you get to look at put on a different lens for a second. And I always say, Shiny knows this about me. It's like the greatest thing is when you read a story and you realize the asshole in the story is you. That's what
Yeah.
that's what brings the most change. You're not gonna get it from a self help book. You're gonna get it from a story.
Mm.
You're gonna see a character and go, oh my god, that's me.
Yeah.
And like
I
that,
I
like
I honestly learned so much from fiction,
yeah.
whether it's intended or not.
That's why it's
I
banned. The people, the powers that be know that. And that's why they try to reduce it. So,
mm,
to reduce this influence, that they ban books because stories change people. They make you
mm,
question. They put you in the shoes of somebody else. Take a different perspective. Yes, it is. Tony says it's a type of magic. It is a type of magic.
yeah.
Someone doesn't. That it's. I know that a lot of companies are hiring a lot of companies that train, like Google and Apple. They have a massive number of employees, and they have employee training. I heard they hire a
Mm,
lot of English majors because even though someone may be more qualified to do the training, may have more know how of the technical side of things, they want people that are reading maybe for
mm,
reading. They're in their academic. They went to school for that because
yeah.
you may be training somebody. Maybe you never met a Native American before, in someone that lives on a reservation, but you may have read a story of
Hmm.
somebody, and that makes you a little more qualified to talk with
Yeah.
them because you've read them. You maybe read a version of them, or in a story you've seen them before. So it's like you're able, because you've seen that, and you've kind of viewed a story through the eyes of someone like that. You make a better, maybe you may train them better, or to explain
Yeah.
things to them better because you understand the perspective, where they come from. uh
Well, even my company, um, which is investment manager, uh, they have a graduate program where they just hire people who have graduated. It doesn't matter what degree they have. And there are people who were, English lit majors who come in, and yes, now they're investing money, but the reason they pick them is because in order to invest money well, you have to be able to find the unique thing.
yeah,
And they know how to think, they know how to analyze things
yeah,
so they can better find the unique thing.
yeah.
So, you know, knowing how to think goes a long way.
Or
And reading,
learning how to think like that.
yeah, and reading helps you learn how to think like that.
Yeah, because we go through these stories every week, and I come away with something that I learned about myself. I'm sure Shiny. I'm not speaking for her, but I'm sure
No,
she
absolutely.
she has that, those same feelings where you read you think you identify with a character.
Mhm.
With this one, I like told you, I have an aversion towards emotions sometimes, crying. I don't like to do that in public, and I was like, just to see like to have a story that kind of hits upon that in such a way that even feels like Hitchcock, or it's like it kind of reads like a Camus like uh story. Did I say that correctly? I'm so I would mispronounce his name. Um,
Who?
what's his name? The metamorph No, no, I'm sorry. No, not
Kafka.
Kafka. I was thinking of Albert Camus. I think it's Camus.
No, Kafka.
Kafka. I felt like this story was very Franz
Franz
Kafka.
Kafka.
I felt that story had a Franz Kafka type of scene or a character. Somebody like you think of the metamorphosis. Somebody doesn't, is turning into something, doesn't realize they're turning into something. Like he's like having almost like disassociation. So yeah, Dreadfella. Thank you. I think someone told me it's not Camus, it's Camus. Is that? Can somebody?
I will check.
Am I saying that correctly? Just for future reference for myself.
Camus. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Usually get that wrong, but again, thank you.
Do you know what? I would have never known that without looking it up because I've only read his name. I've never heard anybody say it. So.
Yep. Thank you, Dreadfella. Thank you all. We'll see you next week. Right, we're gonna have a break at some point. You have a work event.
The 5th of June. We still have a couple weeks.
Okay.
Well, we'll have next week and then a break and then we can be back.
Yeah.
But then obviously at the end of the month it will be a let's see how you do, since you will start to be very busy.
Yeah.
The end of June, I mean.
End of June, yeah. It's like that's when I start grad school, summer. So
we might have to swap to an every other week, but we'll
make
play
it work,
and we'll let you guys know.
Yeah. So till then,
and I've told Itchy to pick the stories and give us 2 weeks if we can, so that people have time to read if they want to. So.
Yes, that's true, and I have time to read.
Yeah, that too. Right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.